He'll come in fashionably. And we are live.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Welcome to the Michigan Bros Grow Show, episode 198.
Ooh,
Got
we're
our
getting
panel
close.
here.
Cheers,
Yeah,
all.
we're getting super close.
So close to 200.
Close.
2 weeks
Yeah.
away.
Close. Further.
Close to the episode 200.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you were doing, Red. Getting real close, huh?
Real close. Get a little personal.
He was
Well, we
being
got
liberal.
our panel do an intro real quick. We haven't done one of these in a while. We got Tara, Tara Nation. You can find her on Instagram at Terra Nation.
Yeah,
No,
1409.
there it is.
Had to
And
remember.
we got Nut Tree. So I believe that's his tag on Instagram, Nuttree420.
Yep.
I'm Baked Pone, same thing, Baked PWN. To my, what is that? Left, right?
That's to your right.
Yeah. We got Spartan Grown and Anything Grows. And below us, fashionably late, Fergroli popping in at Fergroli _. Or are you back to the new one, the old school one?
I have the old school one. I'm not active on it. It's more of the
Okay.
backup in time for when it's ready. But yeah, app for early on pretty much everything.
All right, and not last but not least, Rosemary Oasis, which is Becca Meets Cannabis and Red Setter Farm.
Whoop, whoop.
Welcome everyone. Glad you could make it this weekend. It's a busy
Cheers,
weekend
everybody.
for a lot.
Happy Memorial Day weekend, and thanks to all of our people that have given and time and effort in the war or in the military.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, shout out plenty of friends and family that have done served. I was gonna say done time, but served
Hey.
time. You know what I mean?
I think at this point, if you're,
families, maybe.
I think everybody in every generation now has probably peers and veterans. But yeah, so this weekend's for them. You know, hang out with your family, enjoy that stuff, because that's what they fought for. So
Absolutely. Honor all of them that sacrificed everything. That's what Memorial Day is about. And for sure, enjoy that day off if you get it.
yeah, I gotta go in the water, but that's it. I don't mind that. And, you know, plants don't know it's a holiday.
No, they don't.
I tried to explain it to them multiple occasions, but no go. So yeah, so we got a full panel tonight. What's everyone smoking on?
I just wanted to say,
Oh.
because real quick while we're on the topic of Memorial Day, before we move on, I had to actually look it up today because I was curious to know the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day. And Memorial Day is really about those that have passed, you know, and not either in the line of duty or, you know, as veterans or whatever. Veterans Day is, which of course is in November, is more about remembering all veterans. So I was just curious, you know, I figured I'd share that. It was a fun little, today I learned, I guess. I
Yeah.
didn't really know what the difference was.
Yeah. I didn't know that. I never even thought about it either. I didn't even think that they're kind of related too. But yep. So yeah. Memorial Day, I guess, is it tomorrow? The actual day.
Monday.
That's why we get off.
I think
Okay.
it's
Yep.
the last Monday of the month. Wait, we get off. Who gets off?
And it is.
I get off.
Really?
Those
I
that
mean,
are.
I go in water, but it's not a full
even
day.
on the home front. I know a lot of buddies. You know, I'm of the age where all my friends went to Iraq during just after 2001.
Yep.
Graduated in 2003, and a lot of my friends went to Iraq, and we have friends that came home and got addicted to drugs or fentanyl and other stuff. No longer with us on the home front anymore because they couldn't get the proper assistance or proper help, mental, physical, otherwise.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame that we can't take care of them.
One of my best friends, he came back from doing 2 tours, same situation, you know, same generation. Actually, I've several friends. That 3 of my best friends in high school all did multiple tours. One of them did 2 tours, came back, and he got assigned recruitment duty of course, which is hard to do immediately after coming back for something like that. Was not given the care he needed, and yeah, he's no longer with us, man. It's a real tragic story, and I don't really hate to start this show like this, but hey, man,
Hey,
Memorial Day, that's kind of what it's
yeah,
about, you know?
exactly. Yep. So yeah, and they fought and died, and so we could basically do what we do every day,
And
and
sometimes we
hopefully in
died
the
on our own
future
turf,
even more
man.
freedom. Yeah. So
So how's
get out
everybody's grow
there.
doing? Yeah, I just came from watering too.
I did. I was just plucking. I was plucking and watering. Just but everything's
What
pretty
kind of-
good. Yep,
I
we
was
got Tara
top
and
dressing
then.
with worm castings. I was got some
Ooh.
plants that I transplanted recently, and well, basically today I didn't have enough of my like veg powdered mix, my organic veg powder mix that I top dress every once in a while with. So I threw what I had, split up between the big veg plants I have under the GML lights, and then just top dress pretty much everything in veg with worm castings. Seems to be a nice little addition when I need it, or when I know I'm going to need it, because it's definitely wet. Like that's like a 2-week kind of like, doesn't really take effect immediately. I'm so used to like cocoa and stuff like that.
I'd like to see that. I can't. Nothing usually is like black and white. So like it's not like it turns on at 2 weeks. You know what I mean? So I bet it's a gradual.
Yeah,
After
it's
like
gotta
a
be
day
right.
or two of wetness.
I find a way that I like to get I like to do like a sludge. So put your worm castings in the bottom of a small bucket or something, and then pour a bunch of water in there and make it almost like a sludge, like a little bit more water than even the worm castings, and then just pour that over the top and let it just chill as a watering in, and that it really seems to process a little bit quicker. Like those nutrients seem to hit a little bit quicker when you do that.
That's one thing I've noticed is when I do top dress with worm castings, I usually take about a solo cup, maybe like a real heaping solo cup for every 10-gallon pot. I probably could do 2. Sometimes I have, but typically I just do 1. And don't forget to leave a little room in your pots. Don't transplant and fill them all the way, really, ever. Even if it's in a solo cup from a seedling or a clone or something, just leave a little room, because you're probably gonna add something there eventually. Even if it's more cocoa or soil, just to keep the stem, straight up. But I added, about a solo cup's worth of worm castings on top, and that really slows the watering down. You know what I mean? I usually just pour like 2-3 liters in there pretty fairly quickly. With soil, it kind of drains slowly anyway, but unless it's super dry, But with worm castings on there, it makes like that sludge, almost like an asphalt layer on top, and it has to like really trickle through, and that lasts a couple days usually, until it kind of breaks down. Maybe gets a little bit drier, harder, whatever, but kind of becomes your topsoil base almost. But the one thing I haven't tried, I mean, other than I guess making like a sludge in a bucket like that, is brewing with it. And that's one of those things that it's like, you could just put it in a sack or a bag or whatever and hang it in your reservoir for a day or two, and then all that water is inoculated with what was in those worm castings.
You got a pump in your resi?
Yeah,
Like you're gonna want to move the water.
I wouldn't recommend. I would recommend maybe what they call a tea, which would just be non-aerated. You have it in some kind of a like a net bag or something, and you're just soaking it in there, and you're just getting a worm casting compost extract, because then you're not dealing with any anaerobics and getting any weird situations.
Getting too warm.
And you're not brewing any microbes. You're just trying to get the extract out of the compost itself and spread it with the water.
It's like an ISO soak.
Yeah, because when you start when you start brewing that with the compost, I mean, and it's okay to brew compost teas. 1 million people have done it and have been done well with it, but it's like, unless you really
know what you're
taking
doing,
samples of it and looking at it, under a microscope, you don't know if you're adding something good or bad. There's no I know there's some parameters to stay within where you're 90% going to be okay, but sometimes you're introducing.
I'm sure temperature.
Let me throw this in here. Then I'm thinking, but what about the benefit of having good microbes already pretty much with the nutrients that are going in?
What I'm saying
I know you may not have, but you also may do. Same with your soil, though. you may not have good ones in there. You may.
Right, but you're adding good. Like when you have like a product that's like
Yeah.
dry
Okay.
next to
I
a
see what
good
you're
thing,
saying.
you
Yeah,
know
like
you're adding
Mammoth
the
or
good.
Recharge or something.
Yeah,
And
and
that's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say. That's the only thing I would add to my water is recharge. Otherwise, it's just RO water, you know. So really, it's and currently I'm out of recharge, so everything's just getting topped with water. And I gotta go to the nutrient store. I guess I re-upped on worm castings and soil, but you know my powdered.
You do the RO to organics. Do you have to add extra minerals? You think more often to
I
your?
mean, science would say yes, but you know, I don't know how significant that is.
Like because you can get like packs of minerals. I know from like build a soil and stuff.
Yeah, the challenge for me is I'm coming from well water as it is, so I'm trying to purify that as much as possible. I'm running it in reverse osmosis. I'm running it through a UV light filter. Like I'm trying to get it as clean as possible. From there, of course, with cocoa and you're running salts, everything, you're just building back, right? You're building back your
Yeah.
nutrients and your base and everything. Now I'm just using it to literally water the plants,
Yeah.
not necessarily feed them in any aspect, but just to water
I see.
them, keep them
Yeah, I got
hydrated.
you.
What do you have for a mineral base in your soil? You do a one-time soil, right? So it's only in there for like 100 days tops, 120 days tops, or what? How long?
Yeah, probably realistically, it's getting up
Oh.
potted as we go.
Okay.
But yeah, it's Michigan medium, so you'd have to look. Maybe you can pull up that website.
Yeah, he remineralizes on flip basically because he pots into a
See,
bloom.
that's kind of the benefit where if you don't, I guess, if you reuse your media, you can use something like sand. Well, you got to watch your sourcing, right?
Biochar or something.
I guess it depends on me just being a backyard farmer. I'll throw some sand or some other minerals, some
Bloom
azomite,
is what I use
because I use minimal. You know what I mean? You start getting into the heavy range, or depending on where you're at, what sand you're using, regular play sand or some bullshit, you could have some high levels of heavy metals or something. But your minerals are like, rocks. Rocks are gonna like sand and clay. Sand and clay.
Zeolite, I believe. Tennessee brown rock phosphate. Carbonate. That's probably mineral.
Yeah, if you're reusing your stuff, you don't
This
even
one.
have to add that stuff. You just have to add the
Paramagnetic rock, so you can
mine it for you.
magnet some stuff.
Maybe every now and then add a little tablespoon of some sand or some shit, but in a tablespoon of like the combination of either clay or sand or
Whoa, triple
silt, sand,
ground.
and clay or whatever, three of those combinations you want, and I think it was like a tablespoon or a cup of it, right?
There's
Poultry
sand in
complex.
that, right? The next one right there.
Do you think they mean poultry like meat
Chickens?
or
No. They're
or
using
their
chicken
poop?
shit.
Okay,
Chicken shit.
okay, all right.
Listen,
I'm just checking.
The
I've never
sand was
seen
right
it
after
with
that, by the way.
that's probably where they're getting their
Sand, yeah.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is the veg has triple ground bark, but you go to the bloom, you only got a double.
That sand is probably for
Double,
You want to
double
know
ground
why?
bark.
You want to know why?
I don't think it's for minerals.
Moisture holding.
Well, the more you
Aeration.
process it down, the more you
size is
process it
aeration.
down, the more it's broken down. So it's smaller chunks. Put it that way.
Oh, here's for veggies, like literally. Oh, it's very similar to the bloom.
Yeah, they have a starter mix. You could probably pull up the worm casting, see what that says. I don't know if it's.
They
I
have
like what
worm
I'm seeing there.
castings?
I like what I'm seeing there. I wonder if it's locally sourced.
It is.
too.
It's all. Well, I don't know if it's
Like I'm
all.
saying,
Let
these
me
Michigan,
see. Let me
nutrients.
see if they say anything. Oh no.
Like
Usually they have
paramagnetic
about us.
fucking rock. I'm not sure they're
I think if
locally
you scroll
sourcing
down, it
that.
might tell you. If
Maybe.
you
I can't.
I'm
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there you
paraphrasing.
go.
I'm totally paraphrasing, but Dr. Lane Ingham
There you go.
says that in a tablespoon of soil, the combination of silt, sand, and clay, there's enough minerals to feed like an acre of plants.
Wow.
Some kind of math like that. It just takes a very small amount.
That's what she said. Acre of corn.
Acre of corn. A tablespoon of sand feeds an acre of corn. So basically, there's enough minerals in the ground or in your soil or in your sand. The idea is that you got to have enough biology to actually mine it out to feed your plant, to do the whole life cycle. We don't have to get into all that whole thing, but that's a simplified version of there's plenty of mineral. There should be plenty of minerals. If you just add a cup full of like sand or azomite or a cup of azomite is way too much in a pot. But like, look at your ingredients list or, and avoid your heavy metal range or whatever. This isn't metric. This isn't metric advice. This is just basic backyard farming advice. But like for organics, I mean, if you were to keep your soil around for 6 months, a year, or something like, the biology would start to mine all of those minerals. You wouldn't need to add, the heavy stuff, the zincs, the copper, like all that macros that you have to add. It's all in the sand. That's all in the sand. Then you might have to add some nitrogen.
That actually inspired me, Red. I did this and I had good results. We went on a family trip just to go to the beach. We went to Lake Michigan, and before I left, we'd found just some garbage on the beach. If somebody had left like a little tube, it was like a plastic tube that maybe some goggles had come in or something. But I just scooped up a tube of sand and I brought that home with me and I sprinkled it in my 3 raised beds.
Oh my God! You just committed 7 felonies.
I don't care.
You can't take sand from the Michigan coastline.
What? Yeah, well, I don't care.
That's how erosion starts. If everybody takes a cup of sand,
rock hounding.
Next thing you know,
yeah, I'm sure it's a crime to improve the land.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with the tides and things.
I don't know.
Anyhow, my plants did amazing the following year. So
hey, can you do me a favor, Baked? Because I want everyone's opinion on this product now that we're talking about it.
Yep.
Look up Pride Lands, and I don't know if it's called biochar, but it's like a biochar reactivator.
Green Crow Pride Lands Veg Premium Organic Dry.
It's a black bag.
Yeah, but I know what you're talking about. Pride Lands. Yep.
I want your guys' opinion.
A tiger on it?
That's a lion.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a liger, all right.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's late session material. No. That's
like something like that.
But okay, so go up to products, and then
right here.
Nope.
Biochar and humic acid.
Yeah, I think that is it, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like the
$25. That's not bad.
To reinvigorate your soil or whatever, and
derived from worm castings.
I bought
all those are is biochar is your sponge, and it's using microbes adding to it to be absorbed by that sponge. So that's where your worm castings has that microbe input. And then did you say humic acids? So that's they're adding micronutrients to that. Yeah, so the micronutrients are also been added here.
So it's basically a way to just add nutrients to your soil, right? Like actually go back to that first picture. Yeah, I want to see the one.
It says derived from soybean meal and worm castings.
Well,
I do want to show that it's really affordable for a biochar. Look, 30 pounds is $160.
So I got 2 5-pound bags.
Yeah, 5 is 38.
More importantly,
2 pounds
more
is 25.
importantly is carbon. It's also adding carbon to your soil. So that's the more important thing.
You want me to go back?
Well, I just wanted to see that NPK value of it.
NPK on this.
Should be pretty low.
Go to the other page. That's bigger on the other picture.
This one?
Yeah, 1.62. 20.
Oh, I see.
It's pretty low. But the reason I brought this up is because I bought 2 5-pound bags of this, and I'm going to use this in addition to the Michigan Medium's Bloom soil. I bought a bunch of I think they're 100-gallon smart pots, and we're just gonna reuse all that soil outside. I don't know that I'm gonna get more than maybe 600-gallon smart pots at this point, but even if I do 6 plants in them, reusing soil, we're gonna kind of test some things out. I did buy a 65-gallon pot as well. I didn't think I was gonna go bigger, but I decided to. And yeah, I was curious to know if you guys think that's enough to get a production run out of like a 100-gallon pot. If I'm maybe mixing a couple of cups of that in, or should I add some? I don't know what do I probably top dress with worm castings eventually. Should I add something into the mix while the biggest thing right now is I still haven't mixed these pots, right? I still haven't beat up these root balls into obliteration, mixed in this earth shine or whatever it's called. If there's anything else I need to mix in, I need to know now. That's why I'm bringing this up.
You don't have any biochar?
See, the thing is
that's what that is.
That's what that earth shine is biochar.
I'm saying you haven't added any.
I haven't done anything. I have 3 1-yard totes, like bags. So almost 3 full yards of used root balls that I'm planning on putting into 100-gallon smart pots until I'm out. And I just need to know what to mix those used root balls with.
Yeah, I would treat those as being low nutrient. So I would get some kind of one all-in-one kind of product, like I prefer this craft blend from Build the Soil, but there's a million of them out there. Down to Earth has BioLive. But I'd give it at least a half dose recommendation of what's on the box to give it a baseline balanced nutrient that's going to get you going, get you started to make sure that you're covering at least all the bases for your nutrient. You can throw the biochar in there too. That's only going to help get your basically the carbon is going to act like homes for microbes to breed. So it's just lots of surface area like a sponge.
I would go with the good old fashioned Elliott Coleman mix, which is your basic, like almost a 1-to-1 to 1. Well, not 1-to-1, but you're almost mixing a peat and cocoa mixture, right? And you could either amend your peat with lime or calcium and get the pH balanced, or you could, let it buffer naturally. But typically, you add a little bit of a lime or some, in our case, oyster shell. Which will do it relatively quick, and then we'll add some cocoa. We'll keep almost like a 1-to-7 potting mix, if perlite, in the entire mixture, like a 1-to-7. So after this is all said and done, sometimes we use a cocoa blend that already has perlite in it because we use our hydroponic blend, but we'll use our cocoa, and then we'll add a compost. But basically, the peat cocoa mixture, which might be a 1-to-1 or whatever ratio you want to do based on pH consumption or buffering, I'd mix that with a 1 part of compost. And in that compost mixture, I might do half of that, or maybe even a third of that worm casting, and then the other part of that, or another third, and then a third of like a different type of compost. We like to use Coast of Maine. It gets a lot of oyster shell, crab meal and stuff like that in it.
Lobster compost
Lobster
too.
meal. And then we like to use
Interesting.
dairy dew in small amounts in that mixture as well. And so we take this 1-to-1 of like our cocoa peat mixture, and then we make sure that in its whole has like a 1-to-7 ratio. For potting mix specifically of perlite, you could add something else like maybe some sand or some other stuff depending on what you're working with. If we're going straight into the ground, we don't really add perlite.
Right. Yeah. These are in smart smart pots.
So if you are going in a pot, mixture, figure out your aeration, right?
There is some perlite in this soil already. I will say that, and I definitely don't want to add any to it.
So you might just need to add it to fix your ratio if you add more compost, which doesn't have the perlite. So maybe add like a cup or whatever, just like a small amount of perlite, just to up your aeration slightly. But that's
even with the smart pot. I mean, it's a smart pot, so it's getting
got good aeration on the sides.
Yeah, and it's a huge pot.
So anyways, regardless. But then the only other parts to that are your minerals, which in this case would be like azomite, maybe some sand. A finely ground sand would be best. The coarse stuff wouldn't work as best. So maybe like a very nice beach sand, like Spartan was saying, if you wanted to source some beach sand. Again, this isn't for metric. You're dealing with probably pollutants and all kinds of shit like that, right? But we're dealing with that in our backyard. So anyways,
but my standards, they're better than metric.
They're better than, yeah, exactly. We're gonna do this healthy. Or you could add some clay to your mixture, maybe add some backyard amendments or something like that. But azomite's your best thing you can get for probably a grow store, or volcanic ash, or some not volcanic ash, but volcanic rock. There's maybe some other forms of rock dust, that you could get, but that's going to have a lot of your micronutrients in that, is just in that rock dust, and maybe some oyster shell and some stuff that's got the actual minerals in it. Now a heavy dose of nitrogen. Elliott Coleman recommends green sand, but basically that's kelp meal. Careful on the kelp because of the sourcing is coming out of the ocean, again, pollutants and things like that. But a healthy dose of, like Spartan recommended, that down to earth product. They make a great kelp meal. That's basically your green sand. So Elliott Coleman's mix is like a 1-to-1 peat and peat or cocoa and compost, and then the doses of green sand, your mineral base, your azomite, or your volcanic rock, whatever it might be, even some stones or whatever in there. And then
I would definitely suggest, though, one rock to avoid is moon rocks, because conspiracy says that they're actually just regular rocks from Lake Montana.
So it's not cheese?
No, I don't think
thought
it's
moon
cheese
rocks
either,
were
though.
Nugs dipped
What the hell
in
are we supposed to use them for?
surf.
Trying to grow good cheese, man, and I want the moonstones.
Any crushed rock that you can source, if you can get it locally, that's a good.
Yeah, because the microbe life will eventually mine that out. Assuming if
I gotta stop you here, Red or Rosemary. Like you're diving so deep with the rocks and the things that are going to take
those are your
so
minerals.
long.
Those
I
are
know,
your-
but these are things that are going to take so long to break down.
They
And
are.
Someone,
So if you're
someone
talking
brought
bigger
up in
pieces,
chat
this
named
is
Claude.
mixed.
Green sand takes decades to break down. Now
Well,
I
that's kelp.
fact check
Kelp.
that.
Kelp,
It says
that's
Google tells me green sand can take 12 to 14 months to become bioavailable.
Months.
So we're somewhere in between a year and decades, But
For building soil.
yeah, but you're building soil. I'm just trying to reuse it. You know what I mean? Like I don't necessarily know.
That would be the availability to reuse it over and over and
But
over.
that's why a lot of these reamendments, like
To it.
the boxed reamendments, come in such fine, broken down.
Powders.
Yeah, they're real fine powders. Those will be more available quicker than a 5-pound rock. That's
wait. So all these rocks I've been tilling up. Sorry, I've been tilling my cornfield. All these rocks I tilled up out of my cornfield. Like, should I just chuck those at my cannabis plants?
You should crush them up.
You could if you crushed them up, make some rock dust.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know.
Just make it.
Grinders I got, but
I'm sure there's some sort of microbe that eats minerals. Turns it.
I wanted to share that too because this is a
like
situation
what Red's
where
saying
I'm
is
basically
basically
reuse it for this year, right? And what Red is saying is he's talking about
Red is saying how to source it yourself to make it yourself. Long term, how to fix that. What I was showing you was short term, how to get you through this year.
Well, to be fair, that's what I asked. Yeah, what's something I just added the soil and mixing it, but I mean we're talking building soil with Red, man. We could do a whole show on this.
Well, azomite is like a very fine powder. You can get it in a fine powder, so it's broken down
fine.
Pretty far. So we
Very
did that
fine.
in like all of our starts for everything. It's only like a tablespoon per gallon, so not too much, and it puts the minerals in there.
And then you could substitute that with green sand, which is another form of rock minerals and shit. And then we like to add our kelp meal for nitrogen. And then our BioLive. We use BioLive to get the microbial life. So that's where the compost, if you add in compost, you're going to get biology with the compost. You're going to get minerals with that compost as well, because there are biology that's consuming sand. The biology is consuming that stuff. So you're getting the minerals in the feces of all of your compost, whatever it might be. Whether it's chicken compost, whether it's cow compost, whether it's worm, rabbit.
I almost caught a baby rabbit yesterday. I was so close.
Ooh.
How do you pick your compost? That's the thing though, because they all got to be providing different stuff.
Now each compost
microbes too.
What do you do? See, I like to think to like go just mix them all together and try to find the golden.
When I made my soil, I did. Yeah, I tried to get. It was called fungal. And then I think I just got worm castings. And that was 50-50 for my compost part.
Like chicken is gonna be
hot
really
and
hot.
right?
Yeah, cow.
Yeah.
Hot. Y'all let a lot.
I remember looking. That's why I wanted a packet. That's why I wanted a packet. They're very even.
It's more like
and
rabbit,
they're not
right?
super high. Let me
Right,
look it up. There's a whole chart.
Best compost I've ever used is leaf. That I made in my own backyard.
Yeah, dude. I actually, before I mulched this entire 3,000 square foot garden, I took all of the leaves from not last year, but the year before. And I mean, from my entire property, which I won't tell you how many acres it is, but it's a lot. And it like my entire property. And it was a almost 3 foot tall leaf mulch layer over almost 3,000 square feet. And I just waited for an entire winter and most of the spring for it to break down, and then covered it up. And I'm like, that's it. That's all we're going with. Let's do it.
With all the wood chips we got this year, we got a crap ton of leaf mulch, and so we put that in the back garden where we've had our cannabis in the past. And this soil is like the craziest, most alive soil I've ever seen in my whole life. It's so happy. And we planted. I just planted pumpkins and tomatoes in there, and they're already growing. Like
I bet it smells so good.
It's so cool to see the different types of soil in our yard specifically, because we've got like different stages of new beds. right? And then we got the broad fork this year. So a lot of the new beds we broad forked first and broke up that. In the soil under there, even though it's just, it's been covered for like 6 months, it's like very active and there's a lot of worms compared to, where we never did that. And you won't get that until there's a couple years of like death and
if
life.
I just dig into the lawn where there's just grass, like we just made a brand new bed and there's like very few worm activity. It's very light brown soil. It doesn't have a lot of decomposition color to it,
It's just compacted.
It's very compact and it's all clay
Check
too.
this out.
Well, that's cool because clay, you're sitting on a landmine of
It
minerals,
is
so that's
very
cool.
mineral. So we're very
This
excited
is-
about the mineral mine that we are on.
We just covered it for 6 months though, and it's like such a difference. And
With
it's
the
so-
broad fork.
Holy smokes, 54-1.
This is the carbon to nitrogen ratio.
I'm literally driving
Leaves. Look
around
at wood
stealing
chips.
bags from people's like subdivision, like, oh my god.
But this is North Dakota something university. But yeah, it's
Sweet.
interesting
Yeah, but
to
you
see.
can compost that. You just take out of your own yard. You can take leaves, and
Yeah.
then when you mow your grass, you just take you put the bagger on, and you mix some to get the high nitrogen. You get that from your grass clippings. You throw that green grass in with your brown leaves, and bam, you got compost.
That's so much carbon. Holy crap. I did not realize that.
Yeah,
I mean,
dude.
I always knew, like, I was
Never
always
pay for
told to-
carbon.
Well, think
Oh,
about
right.
it. A tree. These leaves come from trees, and
Right.
trees have the deepest roots of the plants around us.
And so
they're
many people are
mining from
bagging
so
them
far
and taking
down.
them off the property. You know what I mean? That's why I literally drove by a house the other day. They had 3 of those, like, I don't know, Home Depot or whatever, like real tall, like, paper bags out front. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, I don't know what's inside there. And I'm not comfortable just like grabbing it, first of all, or let alone bringing it out of my own property. But like, man, this is free. It's just free food for
I know when
everything,
they see, I live in town, well, I live outside of town, but when I drive in town and I see the big brown bags full of brown leaves, I'm like, I wish I had my pickup truck because I would just stop and
Shoot.
pick those up from
Yeah,
them.
let's bring a trailer around and we'll just make a whole. Just get like an acre somewhere. We'll just compost an entire acre of everyone else's shit.
Yeah.
It
Talk
breaks.
about having a vast variety of Michigan-made, nutrients.
This website says alpaca poo is the best all natural fertilizer.
So how long are you trying
With,
to have these beds for? Are they just a one and done bed? You're just trying to reuse some soil and then these are one and done? Or are you going to keep these
Are you
going?
talking about the 100-gallon smart pots?
Yeah, whatever big ones are.
So the last ones I had, which are probably excuse me, like 25 gallons.
Or is this for outdoor you're talking about?
Well, yeah, this is for outdoor.
This is for outdoor. You're reusing indoor for outdoor.
Reusing indoor soil for outdoor. Okay. I've been stocking up for a year and a half or so.
This soil already has some nutrition in it because it's organic soil.
Absolutely, and I added worm castings to them when I was, top dressed them, whatever. Yeah, good high nutrient base, but the soil itself wasn't enough to do what I was doing to getting through flowers, so I was adding a little bit to it. And then once I was done, with it harvesting, I took the root ball, threw it right back in the 1 yard bag, and now I have almost three of those filled up all the way. I have used some.
Is it dried out?
It's been closed up, and so I don't know if it's fully dried out. One of them was completely open, and today I had a chicken hanging out in there. I thought it was going to lay some eggs. So one of them's definitely been open and probably got rained on. But yeah, I mean, kind of different stages of that, I would say.
I would kind of water them down to encourage some of that microbial growth to get going in there, and then cover it with a tarp.
So that's my thought, is after I mix whatever I'm mixing into these pots, I'm going to water it in before I even transplant it,
I like that. That's a good idea.
Okay. That's just something I read.
And then I would use some kind of a mulch. Like you could even just grass clippings or something, but use some kind of a mulch. Or if you have leaves laying around, use that for a mulch because that'll keep the moisture from evaporating off the top.
And what's going to end up happening is you're going to end up getting native biology all throughout that pot anyways, it being outside. You know what I mean? It's on the ground. Is it on the ground or is it elevated a couple inches?
It's
big pot
it'll be
on the ground.
It'll be on top of basically what is now ground cover. You know what I mean? So it's on the ground, but it's on some ground cover. It's
you're still
I'm not burying them or anything like that.
So this is a pre-made mix that you grew in indoor, right? So this mix wasn't this is a pre-made stuff. So whatever biology was already in the bag, whatever minerals were already in the bag. The minerals, you should still have tons of those, assuming that they were in there. you really shouldn't have to add a whole lot, man.
I wouldn't think so, man. Like,
really
especially for outdoor, it just
unless you're just trying to expand your volume, like because you're already dealing with an organic soil. I mean, really, your mineral base shouldn't be depleted. You're going to get depleted on stuff like nitrogen and.
Well, and I'm going 100-gallon pots, guys. I'm taking essentially 10 root balls from indoor and using that for one outdoor plant. You know what I mean? If that kind of translates somewhat. So whatever values left out of the
give it some biology, give it a cover like Spartan said.
Well, I like what he said.
Mulch.
There's probably already a lot of biology. But like I already like that you got the biochar because another fact I don't know if we said about biochar, but it creates nooks and crannies for microbes to live in and thrive in. Like I'm imagining like a hole in a tree that like a bird can escape from a big fox or something. I don't know. That can't get in there. But
I like it though.
I remember listening to the podcast with one of the organic people, and they were mentioning that because it's just a bunch of like carbon.
And you can find biochar that's already been pre-inoculated, so you can already get a bunch of biology just from that. Then.
Well, like the stuff he bought is already it seems like it's pre-inoculated. It's got some worm acids, some humic acids, and stuff.
Here's the thing with the biology stuff: is a lot of that stuff you don't want to top dress, right? Because you don't want it to dry out. So a lot of that stuff, that's where this cover comes in. That's why really covering the top layer of your soil is so important, because then you can just peel back that covering, add some whatever biology, and then cover it back up and making sure that it stays moist.
So we just saw that 600-to-1 ratio on the carbon and nitrogen for wood chip mulch. How do you guys feel about that? I know it's expensive. It's certainly not as cheap as growing your own ground cover. But how do you feel about putting mulch on something like a 100-gallon plant, like wood chip mulch?
Yeah,
Spartan.
I mean, sometimes some of that wood as it breaks down, it takes a fungal presence to do that, and the fungi take nitrogen to break that down. And so, unless you can still do it, and it'll be great, and you can add nitrogen back, but it just makes it harder on you.
What I've seen is don't bury your wood chips, like wood beneath. And here's the thing.
True, just a little layer on top, I guess.
There's actually a lot of studies that go on this, because it's a huge topic in the organic farming community, where because of hugelculture and all these other things, but hugelculture is not that big of a deal, because what's going on is there's the nitrogens bounce up or specifically around the wood, right? It doesn't go too much further. Like, it's not going to take all of the nitrogen out of your soil. Now, if you have wood and soil homogenized together, you're going to have a fucked up nitrogen issue, because you have wood surrounded with your soil, but if you have your top layer, yes, your top layer is going to have some nitrogen. It's going to be bound up in the wood chips, as long as you don't have wood homogenized down up into your root zone, that is a nice looking bud, Tara.
We did research on it because we got all the wood chips, right? And we put it on top of a lot of our beds.
So wait, the wood chips suck nitrogen out, but they compost into 600-to-1 nitrogen.
Yes, and
so wouldn't you also be afraid at some point it's gonna dump nitrogen, possibly when you don't want it in flower?
But no, it's not. No, you're reading that wrong. It's 60 parts carbon to 1 part.
Oh, okay.
I think it's 600. Wasn't it 600?
600 for wood chips. Yeah. Okay, crazy. Carbon to nitrogen. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I read it backwards, but because I was like, your roots that'd be crazy.
Beneath the soil, a decent amount, and then they're going even deeper than that. I mean, they're far away from that range.
Yeah,
nitrogen for them is being held up. Just the top feeder roots maybe, but the rest of that plant should.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was gonna say the top feeder roots, but I'll tell you what. Today, while I was out there right before the show, I had a yellow sticky trap laying on the top of my soil. You're kind of supposed to hang them up or whatever on the branches or whatever. Sometimes you put them right on the top, especially if it was a small one. Well, I had one of those full, fold over ones, kind of folded out or like stretched out V, whatever. It's covering half my 10-gallon pot, basically. That thing was there for probably 3 weeks or something like that. And finally today I pulled it up to swap them out. And there's, a fistful of roots totally exposed outside of the soil because that thing was covering it. And of course, that's given it its, light protection. And it thinks it's, that's where the bound of the the boundary of the pot or whatever it is, the root ball. So it's growing straight up. It was wild, and I of course covered it up with some delicious, tasty worm castings, and fed them back in. But it was kind of crazy to see that. I'm like, I guess these are healthy plants if they're growing right up to the sticky traps.
Yeah, dude, they'll just grow wherever they have space. Path of least resistance. Crazy. You ever see roots just come right out of the stems, right out of the stalk of the plant? Like
like a quarter
Yeah.
inch up or a half inch up. They're just sticking
Yeah.
straight out like they just want to
all
keep
over the
rooting.
plant. I've had moms that would just like be really old and they just be like throwing these little air roots. It's super wild.
One of the fun things is when you do the mounding transplanting. So you go from like a solo cup to a 1 gallon to 3 gallon to 5 gallon to 10 gallon. You have this giant mound right above if you plant them above, right? And then as you slowly water it, you get this like finger roots that come down, and that's just like it's like one of those trees you see in the tropics or something.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
I always wondered how those were formed, and I get it. And I watched some bonsai creators those one time. And
Yeah, you can put things in your pot and then plant on top of it.
Yeah.
Right, and then it will grow around whatever that thing is. Say it's like a red center logo, like a metal logo or something, right? And then it grows all the way around it, and then you just keep growing it into a bigger pot, so it's above it, right? And then you can just wash all that soil out.
I'm gonna do that with some big old.
Oh, he said no. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do it with, but I'm going to do it.
We had another alien abduction. That was a fast one, man.
Well, he's trying to tell too much.
Yeah, they got him.
You guys ever tried a bonsai cannabis? I've never tried that.
I want a bonsai, real bonsai.
Yeah. What about chia pet? You guys ever do chia pets?
No.
That was huge.
Dude, I saw this one thing that was a girl. She had a VW bug, and she covered it in chia pets and like had it seeded, and she had to like cut her door out of it to be able to open it, because she was able to drive around in a chia car.
That's insane.
The seeds are pretty cheap, I think.
She just made like a paste out of the seeds and smeared it onto her car and left it in her driveway for like 3 days, and it started to sprout.
That's bad, man. Just put it under the sprinkler and
I wonder what the ratio was on that paste. Like, there's got to be some peat in there or something.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, for girly, it might just be as easy as just, I would use the stuff you have, but I would still get something to amend, like an all-in-one, maybe a half dose, just so you cover bases.
Yeah.
You are going to have plenty of stuff in there, but just because it's an unknown, I like to at least cover a base and have something in there.
Here's the beauty of this all, guys. Maybe I'm just going to do this, and this is obviously a lot of work, you guys know. But if I'm doing 6 or 7 different pots, maybe I do 6 or 7 different tests. Maybe I only do one.
Yeah. Well, I would do it at the very least is you can get this fairly cheap if you go to like a hardware store, and that's garden gypsum, and get some gypsum, because that's going to at least help balance the pH of your soil. It's going to get that, the calcium that comes with that. And then the other thing that comes with is sulfur, which is just going to help with your terps. So.
I was just say lime isn't one of those things that helps.
Well, lime brings magnesium, and that might be an issue depending on, because we're dealing with I don't know what your base is.
Here's the thing. I grew these out of these pots, this used soil. I grew it under LEDs, right? So might there be a chance of being high magnesium or calcium usage out of it? So maybe it's a good thing to replace. I don't know. I'm just throwing out unknowns, but I don't know if I feel like it's hard to go overboard in organic soil where it's pretty easy to do that in something like a cocoa,
I think it's easy either way.
I think where you go overboard in organic soil is when you use like hot amendments. You know what I mean? When you use stuff like
chickens are just shitting right on top of your soil.
Raw manure. Yeah. Maybe not right on top, but like mixing it into the root zone.
Yeah. Sure. Well, that's why they say don't mix worm castings into don't plant into worm castings. Not that you can't mix it in, but don't plant into direct.
There's really there's dry out so fast. I mean, the biology is going to go, you know what I mean? Like there's probably a ton of reasons not to do it.
That makes sense.
But yeah, you really need like your cocoa base and your peat, like that's not biology, that's not mineral, that's not feed, that's moisture retention, right? Like this is where you're in a pot. You don't really need that in the ground. The ground should hold moisture if you keep it covered. you shouldn't have issues if you keep it covered. Your clay, your sand, your silt mixture. Maybe you are sand only and it is super drainy, then you do need to add some peat or some cocoa to that to help buffer that moisture, but that's what that's for. If you already got that and then you've already got a compost base in there, which was most of your minerals, whatever is in that whatever leaves made up that compost, whatever animal shit that those animals ate, whatever leaves they ate, those are trees and plants that mine minerals from the ground, the sand and all that shit. They mined it and then the animal ate it and then they excreted it out and composted. And then so those minerals are now in your soil. So you already have all that stuff. I think a lot of stuff you're like lacking are, it's going to be your nitrogens and some stuff like that. And really, like I say, if you homogenize it all and mix it all up, and then maybe get a soil test since it is such a big pot. And then if you don't want to go that far, just give it biology.
I probably won't.
You're outside, give it some biology. You know what I mean? Like cover it up, give it some worm tea. That worm tea is definitely going to load it up with nitrogen. It's going to load it up with a bunch of minerals, whatever's in there.
I mean, I'll probably throw a whole bag of worm castings on each one of these pots come like the time they start flowering or something. But like
your best mineral supplement would be, if you're trying to look for something that might be maybe water soluble, would be C90. If you're looking for something you can maybe purchase, this is a salt base. It's like a sea salt, and so it's sea salt. That's I'm not sure where it's from. Maybe the Black Sea or something like that. Where this we have a bag of it. We're going to do a compost extract, like a quick extract, and add some C90 to all of our whole garden once everything's done. And this is like the one product that like Dragonfly Earth Medicine will allow you to like outsource. And
is it just mirrors that look like the Botanicare logo or something?
Loop, so
yeah, that. What does that remind you of? Is it just too basic? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
you're muted, Baked.
Looks like.
Oh yeah.
Is it the R word?
I was agreeing with you. It looks kind of like the Botanicare little leaf, but.
Oh, I was thinking about the tractor. The tractor driving away. It kind of looks like the
I like that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. What's going on with those tires? What is happening?
So what is it, 2-part or something?
Heck?
There's different blends.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Look at all this. Yeah.
Different salt based.
Ocean Life Complete Sea Salt.
You can drink the shit. I'm pretty sure it's somewhat filtered. And
what is this for?
They recommend it for just about everything. You can like give it to chickens as a supplement.
Yeah, supplement.
All animals.
No, they make this is salt for reef tanks.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It does. It comes right out. It looks like
it's really affordable too.
Red Pill says it's the Sea of Cortez.
Oh
yeah, that's awesome.
Our Florida fish man is coming back.
Yeah, I've been wanting a fish tank, but I've been holding off. This is a sign.
How big of a tank would you go? How many fish would you put in it?
You gotta go big enough because the smaller it is, the harder it is. It's got a lot of parallels with growing.
But like, how many gallons are we talking? Like, I don't even know.
Like, I want at least 150 this next time.
Okay.
But that's just the top tank, and then
you can just get one. Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay.
But no, it's just like organics. You gotta go big, otherwise your problems are quicker.
That's what I'm saying, dude. 100-gallon pots. Let's go.
Yeah.
And this would solve your short term. Whatever you need. Your plants that are vegging don't need a lot. They really require nitrogen and whatever.
Yeah.
Some basic minerals.
I don't want them to sputter out in like early September, though. You know what I mean? That's
kind of yeah. You definitely. What you shouldn't worry about is excess nutrients built up, because you think of the ground, like where does all those nutrients go? They're just there. The plant just does its thing. It's really about what biology is going on and like different seasons host different biologies too. Like so that's all your biology is totally going to change throughout the season. So as long as you're not like. That's why I don't like bringing in a lot of inputs. I just like the plants. I plant into the ground and I let everything do its thing. I keep the plants covered, and I'll give them like worm casting teas throughout the season, just to like kind of boost that nitrogen, that growth throughout the season. And really, August hits. I mean, everything else in the garden, August, September, it's already harvest time. Definitely squash is already done growing. A lot of stuff's they're just curing at that point. You know, most of your stuff, it's already harvest time. The cannabis is the only thing just riding it out. And I just let it ride out. That way it doesn't like, I guess like there's an excess and uptake because there's plenty of minerals for it to utilize, whatever those minerals are. And really the big thing you're trying to the harvest out of your thing for the bud flower growth, I guess, is your potassium. However you can, harness that out of there, but it should already be up in your compost mixture. It should already be just naturally in there. You shouldn't really have to amend and really it should be in just composts, would be where you're getting all of your stuff, and really just like allowing the biology to do it. It's all within that by, maybe even plant some earthworms in there so you don't have to keep adding earthworm casting tea. Well, honestly, dude, you're outside, you're going to get them natively in. They're just going to end up in there anyways. You have a ground cover and everything. They're still going to end up in there. The birds are going to shit. Yeah. It's going to be in the bird shit. They're just going to be in there.
It's amazing the seeds that grow places around our property because of the birds.
You should grow some seeds on top of that, like some clover or some even beans or just something that'll like even cycle.
Yeah, clover will fix nutrient and nitrogen too, atmospheric nitrogen.
Legumes
as well.
Get some legumes.
Some beans.
Okay, I've got a question though. So if you're trying to pull nutrients from the ground, and like you own your land and stuff, and it's something that I wondered about, like how far down do you own? How far down you can pull fucking nutrients?
Center of the earth.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I think you should.
You don't.
It depends on whether. No, here's the thing. It depends.
Mineral rights.
Yep, there you go.
Mineral rights. Well,
exactly. So how far down can you harvest before they come in and say, "All right, thanks for doing the work"?
If it's gold or not, We'll tell you when you have gold or not. You're getting topsoil cool.
Nobody's hitting my geo.
You hit gold or oil? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Well.
They frown upon shovel digging, but you can grow a field of sunflowers and mine some calcium. Go for it.
Or some daffodils.
You own mineral rights usually, unless you buy a place without it. You technically get it. If you're in the UK, that's not the case. You only get, I think, like 6 feet.
I don't like rules that were made before I was born.
Only 6 feet under. That's as far as they let you go legally.
Deep enough.
Wait, did you just Google it, Free Rolly?
I frown upon.
No, I just like that. I like that what he's saying. 6 feet. You only get 6 feet.
It's not a lot. It's not a lot. It might be 10, but they have to get permits to build basements and things. I'm not kidding you. It's like the crown owns everything below in all the mineral rights.
The crown too. Nothing.
All right, I need to just know how deep I can go so that I know.
Hey, let's put it this way. I don't know. I don't know him personally, but I know a farmer here in Michigan that on his fields and just hundreds and hundreds, probably hectares of corn and soybeans and everything he was growing like that, he somehow found oil. And so he started putting up these little oil rigs everywhere. It's probably actually not too far from where you're at, Baked. And this is probably a decade ago, and
Baked likes mining.
Retired on that kind of thing, you know what I mean? Sold off his entire property.
I would too.
Why do you think they shut down crypto mining? Oh, the people can get the straight source of money? Nope, can't have that. So they started crushing it like Ethereum.
Or maybe
can't mine
a
it.
huge draw on the power grid, and it was terrible for the environment.
Actually, fun fact. All of crypto in the world only took 50% of all the banking in the world.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
In terms of power,
50%. That's a lot.
You're talking 50% less than the banking.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna shove somebody out, let's shove the.
Let's go. Get them going. Get them going.
Yeah, no. But what I'm thinking is, but you're comparing something. Look at the user base of banks compared to the user bank of crypto. If you took those same numbers and extrapolated everyone using crypto as if they were using the banks,
but
then
you're
the
not everyone is mining.
Would be way more. It wouldn't be.
It's apples to oranges.
Exactly.
That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you. You're telling me an apple to oranges.
We're telling you. You're trying to compare an orange to an apple, and we're over here.
That's what I'm telling you guys. You're trying to me. You're trying to compare an orange to an apple. That's the argument you just gave me. That's what I'm telling you.
I'm just saying, if you got somebody using this much power and you're pointing at the person using half much power, I don't know.
No, you're pointing at an alternative, saying, "Look, this is better than what we're currently using."
Yes, crypto is the.
Well, we already said that. Yeah, we knew that.
I don't understand why you guys would want to not only like if you use a bank and then you have your money tracked in a bank, and then if you go online for crypto and your money is tracked online crypto, or you could just pay cash for a lot of things.
I like cash.
Okay, cash is
because
cash.
you
I will
can't.
tell you
That's
that
not
much.
a true statement anymore, and it's becoming less and less.
I like
There's
the harder.
there's so
Only
much.
'cause they
There's
wanna-
so
I
many
only want to
places
work with the
where they
people that
only
I'm
want
going
your
to continue
digital
to give
money.
to
They
cash.
only want you to swipe a card so that they can
Shirt
track
I'm
it
wearing
all.
right now?
Here,
This
okay,
shirt
here's
is
the
a
So
difference.
yeah,
big
cash is
example.
cool in this
Can I tell you the
dystopian
difference?
world where we're all trading, but
Can I tell you the
I got
difference
this shirt
between?
for 20 sack, and that's
Can
not
I-
a lie.
I love it.
I
I
wanna
love
tell
that,
you-
Rose.
Truth.
I want to
we're
tell
the
you the difference.
minority.
I want to tell you the difference between all the things we're talking about and that we use currently, and all things that we idealize and would love to use all the time. Centralization. It's control and it's power. If we have a decentralized crypto, that's a good thing. That's essentially cash. If we have a centralized crypto, that's no different than having something like a bank.
Yeah, which is
Something
what
like,
they did.
Yeah. So, well, that's what, Fed now. We can get, this is late sesh material. Guys, we're 4 minutes
Yeah.
out from the
Well,
hashtime. I got to get ready for that.
I do want to answer. It looks like you own everything. But
You need to highlight here.
if it extends beyond your property line, then the other person has equal rights to it. But apparently, you're supposed to own everything from the heavens to hell.
I
And
agree with that.
there's a Latin statement that apply, but I'm sure they've wiggled bills around that. But I think if you own your land, yeah, I think that's how it should be. But
Yeah, you'd think.
I don't think. I mean, these laws that we're talking about and stuff won't be here in 100 years.
Tell me I can't
It won't
have
be
chicken.
here in 500 years, but your land will. So it's I don't know. So, but yeah, I mean, we've all heard of them coming to take your oil. It says you can even pump your own oil and gas out of the ground as long as you can get the permits. So it's like, oh, there's your hiccup.
There it
They
is.
own the permits.
exactly.
So, well, I mean, that to me, that's just a scam. So I don't follow scams.
Policy.
I would drill my own oil,
Here it is, man.
and then I put a fence up
It's
and sit behind the fence.
it's really all a big corporation. You know, the whole.
There was a big debate on this because of the drones, if you remember. Like handheld drones. How far can you go up before you get in trouble with the plane people and stuff like that?
What was it? That's like 1,000 feet or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, they put it at like 1,000, which is nothing to be honest. But otherwise, you have to register it with the FAA.
Do people do that though?
I doubt it. I mean, yeah, it's just like all sorts of other stuff. Make sure you come register it. Oh, that seems like a good idea. But yeah, so we got hash time. I gotta get my rig. What do you guys got? Any hash?
We're doing a quick charge on the Peak. The Peak Pro. What is the whole name of it?
I just
Puffco Peak Pro.
Puffco
Yeah.
Peak Pro.
Banana Conda.
Nice.
So good. That sounds so good, Tara.
It is so good. I know it sounds like it should be banana, but it's not. It's GMO.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
weird. Why are they calling it banana then?
Because of Banana OG was a pheno,
Yeah, I think that's what they told
and
me.
all this stuff came from
But
it.
everything else in it makes it GMO-ish. It's very
But
good.
banana doesn't come through at all.
Eh.
See, I feel
No.
like if you pheno hunted that and you found the name, I feel like you should have thought about adding banana in there.
And
Well,
it might be something somebody made the name up with. I'm
I'm
not
pretty sure back in the forum days, like banana, it was like there was like things like, oh, you got donkey dick sized colas, stuff like that. But there was also you got bananas, like huge, like big long hazy ones. But so I don't know if like maybe there was an OG pheno that they were like, oh, this is banana OG or something like that.
Gotcha.
Because I asked Skunk House, I was like, I would have bought your modified, but it has banana in it, and I hate bananas. So he goes, well, there's not really. It wasn't based off banana flavors or anything like that. Like there was nothing like
Okay.
that hunted.
All right. I'll keep that
Yeah.
in mind then. I take it back. See, I wasn't
Yeah,
judging
because
nobody. I just learned.
I haven't
No,
touched
I
it
used to
either, and
banana
like now I'm like, all right.
not a fan of banana, so I was just like kind of like, I don't know about this one. But then once I tried
Yeah.
it, oh, ching.
Especially if it's GMO. That's your shit right there. You and
Yeah.
Big.
Because it's apothecary. Oh, well, that doesn't make much sense. Banana OG is Ghost OG times Sargamartha's 6040, which is they named the banana pheno. So that's interesting why they did that. We'd have to dive real deep because Seafinder doesn't have much on that. But
Yeah, I'm down with. I'm with Operation Annihilation in chat. When I hear bananas, I first thought is nanners. People
It's a
say
rubber
bananas.
band.
yeah, that's where it went to now. Because a Hermia, a pollen sac actually looks exactly like a nanner in my opinion. Way
Yep,
more than like a big bud.
for sure. And
Yeah,
the
hashtag.
flower is like a little yellow flower that opens up.
I match your doobie poker, and I flick another doobie poker.
Is that what you think it is?
Well, that's what I'm using.
I think it's a rubber band.
Doobie
That just says
poker?
rubber band. I
You
say
guys
it's a
hear it?
doobie poker.
Yeah, I hear it. Hold on. I'm thinking. Damn, rubber band got in my head. I think it's rubber band. I gotta go with that.
I'm with it's a
Aren't these supposed to be instruments? What the hell?
Yeah. Well, welcome to hash time.
it's a juice. It's a mouth harp.
That
Is it a
wasn't an
dome?
answer. Is it an
It's left
instrument or not? Are we into objects now?
It's a mouth.
Oh,
We've been in objects for a long time,
Caps
guys.
container.
Oh, it's back. Lime Skunk's back.
That's not a doobie poker.
No, it is not. It is
That's
a
nice. Nice
I
segue
should
know out
into
of
that
all of us.
introduction, dude.
For
Out of
Gurley,
all
I
of
am
us, you should
impressed
know
that
who
you
this
could
is.
open that so quickly because I cannot get those fucking containers to open for the life of me.
How
It's because two sides open it and two sides don't. So if
Yeah,
you're on the two
yeah.
sides that
So I
don't, it
just
will
sit here
not
and do
open.
this
It's a
too.
child lock.
Yeah, it's just free.
Yeah, and we're stoned.
Yeah, that's what I'm just saying. If it doesn't work this way, switch your hands 180 and try it, and then pinch.
It's
No,
so-
not
yeah.
180, 90,
Well, I
90,
mean,
just
Big-
it
90.
doesn't pinch
Big,
at all. You
you-
gotta
you-
switch it.
You know probably just as good as anybody, if not better than everybody, how it is explaining to people how to open these jars if they're not already open out on the counter. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh, dude, and for me, I keep dry sift in them, so it's like just make sure you don't like kaboom them all over
Yeah.
the place.
I haven't done that yet, but you know.
You have to do it carefully. I actually close it and I press the two sides together too, usually.
Yeah, keep it like
I'll put the fucking lid on a different way or something, so it's not even right, and that's like impossible to open or something. I swear. Like if you
Yeah.
don't put it back the way you took it off, it seems.
I
like,
have done it with one hand, so it is one hand operable. It's not like
Yeah,
something you have to.
That's fucking impressive doing it with one
Yeah,
hand.
that really
That's
Is that the
That's
stoner
why I like
alternative
them,
to tying a
because
cherry
that's-
stem with your tongue?
That is literally what
Yeah.
I was gonna say. Anything else?
I
I was
can
gonna ask
do
him if he could
one-handed.
try a cherry stem with it this time.
There's a
Yeah, but
lot
see,
of
you guys
times
aren't
the
used to
dabber
this. I
needs
wanna
to
see
do
you
it
do that.
one-handed.
Yeah, that's
I
what
want
I. Well,
I
if
want
you
to see
have
you do it
one
in the
hand
white
also, but-
container, not those ones.
The white
I don't have any
container.
more white
Get a
ones
real
right now.
Fagoli out.
Get a real Fragoli one because they're
It's the
extra.
same brand.
They're extra hold on the sides. It's not the same. It's not the same at all.
It's just because they're
They
extra
are.
sticky.
They're not the same, man.
What? Yeah, they're for the.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
That was terrible. But yeah.
All right, this is
Now
is
you're
how
just
I
showing
do it.
off.
You guys ready?
Boop.
Yep.
Yeah, that didn't look
The
very
key,
good.
the key is you leave it on the table and you pinch and pull the top off,
Oh yeah. There
You
you
gotta
go.
have some
and then you're able to
more-
grab a
We've been
dab
talking about this for a
one-handed.
good 5-10 minutes already. That's insane that we had to talk that long on how to open a goddamn lid.
Well,
I
hey,
like
hey.
that table method. I like the table method, but usually I don't have enough dab left in it to weight it down.
The calyx container is. You just need to be patient and you squeeze
patient.
and slowly, like gravity, pull that sucker, and then boom, it's off. It doesn't matter how much
You just open it
is
with
in
your mouth and
there.
then pour it in.
You're talking about a gram versus not a gram,
Well, we're talking 3 grams actually. Thank you very
or
much.
3 grams
Yeah,
versus
exactly.
yeah. But
Get it right.
oh lord, oh lord.
Get it right. It's 3 grams.
Where have you
man.
been, Mr. Hashbash?
Jeez.
And you
Oh,
had him vending that for
ooh.
you?
Right? You think it's been 3
sold-
months or something?
Well, I was selling people $100 grams. You're welcome.
Jeez, you're
So
whoa.
somehow
Well,
they were
get
buying
home.
it.
Bates got rich over a hash.
he's a better salesman than we thought he was. Holy shit.
This is the best 1 gram you'll ever have, dude. Fuck that. Rosh and stuff.
I'd pay more if I saw the profits, but you know.
I like those containers though.
Yeah, they're really good. I mean,
I like Winewoods too though because they
are
actually
my
have a
favorite.
really good lock. It's like
Yeah.
a twist and then it
Full
locks.
turn.
So like, yeah, as soon as
Theirs also has that white thing, that real cushiony thing that kind of like secures it
that's
on.
the only thing I wish they would improve is that cushiony thing isn't like PFTE. It's porous, which
hold
means your
on.
dad's can go. I know the Calyx have them, but
Do they make
Calyx
something
come
like
with
that
the
that would
Calyx
not be
come with
porous?
one, but the one with the Calyx is this thin plastic thing that
it's
got to stick good, otherwise it'll come
okay,
out and you're basically
so-
now you have 3 pieces to your
it's
dab
true.
container.
It's true. So here's the thing with these Calyx.
Let me bring it up so we can see if we can see it.
There's two different size lid or two different style lids. One comes with a PTFE style liner, one comes without. You can't tell by looking at them right here, but if you touch them, you can tell. Now this one has the liner in it. We'll go ahead and give it a close up on this.
Well,
one.
also you notice the gasket.
Well, the gasket's on everyone.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. There's a nice
that's
non-sponge. It's like proper silicone, whatever, what you would want a gasket.
You guys have a foam liner on your concentrate lid, like I have done in the past.
There we go.
It will soak up the terps. Now, if you got something dry or whatever, it's not a big deal. But this is why I went to this, because this looks like plastic or something like this. But this is if I get it out.
Hey, that one's in there good.
Liner. Yeah,
when I got my sample pack, they fell out loosely, but they might have improved them.
And this is molded right into the lid there, and this keeps it's on the inside of the gasket. So even if you took this jar and it was loaded with terps and you flipped it upside down, with that click there, it's fully sealed.
Yep.
And you don't have to worry about it leaking.
You might get a little leak. I'm not going to say it's 100% foolproof, but the foam lids will soak up the terps, and the other ones without any kind of liner will just leak right out. And I've heard enough stories where it's like,
I feel like the only issue that I have with it though, Free Girl, is like when you look at the lid of it and you notice where it's like leaking, because like Cobra Milk in particular is this one, and mine at home I noticed was the same as this one. Like I do notice that it keeps it, I've never had it leak out of the container, like melt out or anything. But on the liner, I don't know if it'll be able to see, but you know how it like gets stuck around the liner? I feel like it gets under the liner and it gets sticky, and it's still, even though it's not leaking out, it still is leaking and getting all around the rim, and that's also making it kind of like just kind of messy in general.
So that's what I found. It's not foolproof. It will still potentially come out the sides because it's not like compressed, right? It's a click, right? So it's a click lock. It's not like a click compress lock. That liner helps it, but it doesn't make it foolproof. Now, I wouldn't sit there and hold it upside down or anything like that. But if you're tossing around, you got it in a bag or something like that, it's going to help. But yeah, I mean, if you got something with viscous terps, unless you got like a full
like lime skunk in a purse.
Yeah.
Have you tried, like, is there a way to use that liner, the porous one, underneath and then do that gasket over it?
For compression.
That porous foam liner was from a completely different brand that was manufacturing them in China. These are actually German borosilicate glass, so it's a much higher grade glass in the first place. The liner itself, you can dab right off that liner. It's safe to dab off the liner. That ultimately, we're probably not going to get a fully sealed 1 gram or 3 gram jar. I just think it takes a little bit more of a higher level of manufacturing and engineering that they're probably willing to put into a 50 cent or dollar and a half.
What about a syringe? What about a different application? What if it's in a syringe?
That's the thing.
It's squish out a dab.
So if you have a dab that is so viscous, or maybe it's just the terps, right? Or it's like the Cobra Milk terp pod, something that's going to stay viscous.
I'm thinking like same thing with RSO, like the thicker dental syringes that have the bigger, wider opening. Like
I know, like
concentrate in that and just fucking squish a dab into a fucking banger.
You could do that, and I've had the packaging vendors try to sell me those glass syringes. I actually like them a lot, but it's just like I don't produce enough of that product, that style of product, that it's worth it to me. Now, maybe at a commercial level or something, there's something there for me. But like I've talked with Anything Grows, like those terp pods I make are so few and far between because it's not like my bread and butter, first of all. And the part of it that goes into that is the bread and butter. And it takes a while to stabilize it. And it's a highly in demand product. And it's like, I have to essentially I have to set aside the most valuable part of this plant for a month plus just to be able to create a specific product. You know what I mean? And so it's hard for me to do that as like an individual caregiver.
Is your return pretty good on that? What you're able to take and get out of complete product? Is it at least worth it, that, the time?
Certainly would be. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be doing it if that was, spending money for 10 years. I'd just be broke. You guys would,
Well, you said that you don't do them very often. I wasn't sure if it was just because like you break even on it, it's not really worth the money. You're not bringing in that much more from them, or
I don't change the price on it. Like I'm not upcharging for that or anything. Like that's the same price as if you bought it as a gram in a jar, right? It's just a different layer of that product, right? Like if I take the THCA crystals out of that product and put it in a 1 gram jar, that's going for the same price as if it was a 1 gram jar of the batter, 1 gram jar of the sauce, 1 gram jar of the turfs, a 1 gram cart. It's all the same, because to me, that's all the same value, right? It might take a little bit more time to package it a certain type of way, but it's the same product. Like the patient should be receiving that, in an affordable way, as long as the method, right, works for them. And sometimes the method is topical, sometimes it's an edible, sometimes it's smoking the flower, sometimes it's a dab, whatever it might be. But like ultimately,
so are you saying that you based your entire like menu prices off of like comparably across the board, like price per gram then?
Yeah, I don't change based on like the flavor or the method.
No, I know you don't change by like flavor, but like if you were to price it out like the way that you make the cookies and stuff, the cookies are priced in comparison equally to your like 1 gram price, and like 1 gram of RSO is equally compared to however many it would take to make 1 gram of, the flour. All of that's compared equally. 1 gram is 1 gram is 1 gram is what you're saying.
I am certain that if I sold everything I had as flour, I could probably make more money, because it takes a lot more equipment, resources, and time to process flour into a different product.
I just think that's incredible. That's what I was trying to understand. Is that what you were saying? Because like, I think that's incredible. I think that's a really cool thing to follow. I like what you said about how you just said how it was a patient should just get the medicine, and however they medicate, however it works for them is, the way that they take it. But
the only thing that I do price differently, and I actually pretty much probably price at a loss, honestly, is my topical, because that is one of those things that there is a list longer than I could possibly count, remember, or idealize that have benefited from that. And it's always someone's parent, someone's uncle, someone that went through a car accident, someone that works 60, 70, 80 hours a week, someone that's got some past medical or like, trauma or something that's...
Man, you don't even have to tell me. I used that topical this morning for my neck. I could barely turn it side to side. Like, I know how well that works.
So I'll be honest, I give that away pretty often. But it's just one of those things that it's just, I wish more people, and I've probably said this a dozen times on this show alone, I wish more people knew about and took advantage of topicals as a medicine, because it's incredible.
Yeah.
100%. I think we all feel the benefits of topicals here on this panel.
Yeah.
I think it also matters though, because you put a lot of other stuff into your topicals. Like, is the lavender you use, is that your own homegrown lavender?
Not yet.
Not yet. I like that.
Oh my God, lavenders takes so long to grow. We've got 5 plants from last year that we're still growing this year. We're probably going to actually up pot them soon, and we've got 2 or 3 different strains of lavender going this year from Baker's Creek Seeds. Thank you, Rosemary's Oasis, for the lead on that one. We're actually growing all Baker's Creek this year. Well, almost all, but all of our lavender, I think 2 or 3 different strains of it is from them this year. Like, we'll get to that point eventually where we're trying to close those loops, and anything that we can grow here in Michigan that we can put into our product, we will. Aloe, that's definitely something we can grow here, and that's something we put in there. Coconut oil and an MCT extract oil. Yeah, I'm not growing coconuts, guys. It's not gonna happen. Like, maybe give me some time to make some investment property in Hawaii. I don't know. Like, no, like that's so far stretched, but or far fetched, I guess. But I would like to close as many loops as possible. Like, I try to do everything as single source as possible, and cannabis is probably one of those few things that I actually can do fully single source. But man, I had this small craft, stupid expensive, what I call a hipster sandwich the other day. And it was like toasted sourdough, dude, on shredded chicken with some like local barbecue sauce, Munster cheese, sauteed onions. I don't think there was bacon on there, but I wish there was. And then something else. And it was just, it was the size of my fist. It was like not a big sandwich at all, but I'm looking at almost all of this I could do on my own property. Like, Mrs. Ferroli made several loaves of bread this week. We obviously have our own chickens. Barbecue sauce is mostly just like, peppers and, stuff like that, spices. Like cheese. All right. Maybe that's, outsource some Munster cheese. I don't know where to start with that, but like most of these things we could do,
we had some BLTs for dinner, and it's like pulled some kale for the lettuce out of the beds outside. So it's just so awesome to be able to. It makes me miss those like tomato sandwiches. I'd eat tomato sandwiches almost every day.
Yeah, and you can farm to table it like every day. Just by going into your backyard. Like, that's what I'd really like to be able to do. Is for the most part, I understand there's a lot of things that we're gonna have to outsource. Like, I don't have any intentions of having milk, like cows for milk. Maybe cows for meat, but not cows for milk anytime soon. But guess what? Like,
goats?
Dairy farmers. Well, I'm not a huge fan of goat milk, but dairy farmers
you can just grow your own milk with almonds, baby. Stuff.
Almond. So sassy tonight, Baked.
Don't get them started on soybeans.
We want to talk milk. There's been a campaign against regular milk for the longest, and I'm a big milk fan.
I'm not gonna lie. Ever since Becca brought up that milk that she gets from the store, I've had my eye on the lookout for it, because I wanted to try
it. A2, I told my buddy about it who has stomach problems with regular milk.
We love it.
But I don't know if he tried it.
I haven't drank milk in probably 3 years.
It's like,
we still try to make sure that it's grass fed. That's still important. So there's A2 grass fed. Like, it's just 2 things different. It's kind of a pain.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but I feel way more comfortable drinking it. And he doesn't have issues, and he drinks milk every day now.
Yeah, I drink a lot of milk.
Yeah, I have a cup with my espresso or whatever every morning. Steaming up some milk. I don't eat a whole lot of cereal anymore nowadays, but it's delicious.
But Free Growly, I asked if you were growing your own lavender, and it's really cool that you said that you're going to, because I think that's one of the biggest benefits of a topical that people kind of overlook is it's like its own type of full spectrum, because you're getting all of these other plants into it. And they just have so many benefits. So it's not just the cannabis, but all of them in conjunction with each other. And I think that's really one of the biggest benefits.
I've mentioned how one of the side effects of this specific blend of essential oils that I use, lavender, tea tree, and eucalyptus, is that it tends to keep mosquitoes and ticks away. So I often use it when I'm like mowing the lawn or just out working late at night or whatever in the garden. But yeah, you're absolutely right. And one of the challenges I see, especially coming from my position of a terpene focused individual, I'm using a decarbed oil. It is a single source oil, but it's what I consider food grade. It's like the same oil, decarbed oil, that goes into my edibles, goes into my topicals, and those don't have any terpenes in them. So I've burned off all those terpenes, and it's one of the reasons I started making terp cookies and terp frosting and whatnot. Is I wanted to add those natural cannabis terpenes that I was growing and processing and extracting back into the edibles that I was making with this oil that I decarbed, which is essentially just THC, right? THCA to THC, it's all the same. But these terpene profiles are kind of, a modulating effect. So, hey, it works when we're smoking it. Maybe it will when we're, ingesting it too. I certainly think it's
so cool with that is like, I did the same thing kind of with my cookie as well. I don't know how to infuse terps or anything, but in the orange cardamom cookies that I make, it has a different spices ground in it. But the cardamom specifically, when I was looking into it, it's really high in the it's the same thing that mango is high in, the myrcene. Yeah, it's really high in it, and it's really concentrated even in a small amount. So it's going to help benefit and just kind of like give a bit of an increase or something, I think, to those.
And it's great with cinnamon and orange. Like, it's a good pairing with both of those. I almost use it in my clementine cookie. I almost use cardamom, but it could be because it is a good beneficial, like, I don't know, spice herb, whatever you want to call it. But,
yeah, it's really nice.
But I've never cooked with it before I got into these terpene cookies. I'm like, oh, maybe we'll try something new, you know, but I just went straight with the terpenes, basically.
I say try it, man. Go for it. And if anything, if you don't like them enough to sell, you got them to enjoy yourself.
So I will say I'm harvesting clementine this week, and I intend fully to make some clementine cookies ASAP because I just got a box of oranges, freshly harvested, sent to me directly from San Diego from my buddy who grows them in his tree in his front
California
yard.
oranges.
Dude, $82 in shipping to send a box of oranges that I've already eaten half of. And they are so, I literally harvested like 3 days ago. So I'm gonna make some fire.
Are you using the zest of them too?
Zest, the juice, everything. Yep.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
And I've already pulled a couple seeds out of the ones, a couple of.
Do you keep all your rinds? Becca will take your rinds.
He's zesting them.
Oh, you're zesting.
Yeah, I zest it. I guess the
use the rinds with some vinegar and make some cleaning.
Yeah, you can still use the rind. It still has a lot of that residual. I mean, you're not zesting it all the way through. So
no, definitely.
We've got a bunch of rinds soaking in vinegar.
Me
I
too.
have it like 3 stages.
Nice.
I'm saving some in the fridge. What's soaking, and then the final product.
Nice. Smells so good too when you spray that stuff.
I use it for cleaning everything. I originally did it for my bearded dragon because that's like the safest cleaner for their stuff.
Well, especially lemons and limes because you get D-limonene?
Yeah, that's what Fergola I think uses.
Yeah, it's also
to clean.
Aromatic in a lot of cannabis, and it's one of the reasons why you want to store your cannabis in a glass instead of specifically like a Ziploc bag. Mylar might be a food grade might be okay, but the reason otherwise would be that D-limonene will eat through plastic, eat through Ziploc, baggies eventually. I'm not saying it's going to burn a hole in it immediately, but it is classified as a solvent. And if you pull up D-limonene, one of those, I can't remember. It actually comes up as a solvent, and
you guys are unmuted, Russ. Just FYI.
Which would then mean citrique, lemon dozy dough, and a lot
tangy,
of
clementine, anything orangey, a lot of lemony stuff.
In fact, have solvent, right there in it. So that's why I think that gatekeeping and being overly bearing or dogmatic about linguistics and semantics is absolutely dog shit.
Here. Thank you, Red. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I was just saying that kind of on the last show. I was like, man, that's one thing I'm kind of like I think that's the kind of the flag I'm going to carry this year is the pushback against the.
Yeah.
We can all be, we can all just encourage each other instead of being, oh, you're not organic enough or you're not whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Even most people who are growing organic are still growing under artificial light, which is not
organic. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Call me out like
you
that.
still have to check all your sources for
real,
everything.
Though, I agree. This whole it's not organic because it's not under the sun. It's like, oh, it's not single source because you had someone helping you trim.
You're not breathing on your plants, providing
who's got the best cannabis?
I just started a fire there.
Dog shit, childish.
Just enjoy the fucking cannabis. Just shut
Thank
the
you,
fuck
sir.
up.
Well,
Thank you.
Absolutely.
you can still rate it and stuff, but you have things that are actually tangible, like
Tangible.
like
Yes.
like high smell. Like, I think who was that I listened to? I think it's DJ Short on his interview on the podcast, and he goes through his checklist. It's awesome. It's like high is just a general subject. Then it breaks down to a checklist of high. So what's the peak? How long does it last? All this shit.
Yeah.
That's just high. Then he goes into like
Is there a
you know,
ceiling?
so like smell. Does it smell good? Sure. Does it smell like fill the room and stay for hours? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
so like that kind of stuff instead of like like
Having a
well
checklist
is it,
that you
is it
grade
sun
them all the
grown?
same.
You know,
Yeah.
like
Short is a
Sun
great
grown.
wealth of
I
like.
hated that one. That one's like, what does it matter? Like
Exactly.
I've
if
been
it's
playing
better, it's
Smoke it,
better.
smoke it.
Yeah.
Like
I also like the contests, and there's a couple of them that break it down by just like, hey, I trust this judge. What is your favorite one? Or here's like 3
Yeah.
categories. Like pick your favorite one in these 3 categories.
If
and then whatever adds up after that.
if
you
you
know?
got like Spartan and like me type people in for a potency test, that would be a good idea. You know, like because usually stuff's not affecting us, at least not the
Yeah, if
normal
we start
amount
to
for
feel
most
high
people.
after a joint, we're like raising our eyebrows, like, whoa.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
Well, I just like to think when your metric for a competition is like the method of extraction or something like that,
Yeah,
and you get all bound up about semantics,
that's exactly it.
you actually leave out quality because any of these people,
Facts.
just because it's within your category that exists, could be using Eagle 20 and Pest. You don't have
Yeah, exactly.
anything against that in your metrics. You know what I mean? So anybody could be like it's all dog shit semantics. Like bring in actual metrics.
Otherwise,
That's what
then
I'm saying. Yeah,
Free
tangible
would be able
things.
to show up to a place with his test results that say
With the test
unfucking
result.
detectable
Yeah.
and compete and win because
Right,
it's
What do you mean?
Free
There's no solvent here, sir. Yeah, this shows it.
A lab test
It
result
is
says
lacking
no solvent.
solvent.
I think time in public education will fix that. I mean long time, like 10 years,
Long
but
time. Well,
eventually people are gonna catch on because
We have
it's how the world works. There's with the internet and stuff. There's too many
Yeah.
videos out. There's too many people talking about it. Eventually it'll happen. Just like
we
with
have to get
food.
beyond the
People there's so much about food. It's like if you really want to get into food, you can. But you just have to have the want, and they don't have it yet because they're still riding high on dispensary weed. So
Yeah. Well, and you know what? Especially here in Michigan, the prices in Michigan for dispensary weed is getting so low that it's almost worth going buying weed at a dispensary. I mean,
yeah,
$40 for an ounce. What for if it's halfway
at that
decent?
point, you go get your own rosin press, and just
Exactly, man.
I mean, quality in is quality out, but at least you're but like so yeah, I think eventually it'll swing back, and people just like with beer. I mean, I hate comparing alcohol to that, but I think that's a good one with the
Well,
craft brewery market. It came back with. I mean, I'm 33, and it came back within like it was all Budweiser in the 90s, Bud Light, Budweiser, these giant companies, and then all of a sudden, by the time I was like 25, there's like 3 craft breweries in every town I went to.
Is that
And they were-
an education or economic thing though? Because you know what I mean. There's
I
gotta
don't
be
think the
something
economy's gotten better in the last 30 years.
What's the reason for these craft breweries coming about when they didn't really?
I think
exist in
people
mass?
got tired
People
of drinking
demanding
piss
more.
water when they realized, holy shit, Fergoli,
So-
my buddy down the street, Fergoli makes his own IPA. He
So
calls
it's an
it whatever that
education
is.
thing? It's a mass
Exactly. That's
education?
what I'm saying. It took time, but look how long alcohol has been here and been.
Fuck yeah, dude.
You know what I mean?
mean,
So
let's
I
call
just
it
like
since
try to
Prohibition,
remain
you know?
optimistic. It's just like with the MCMA, that got taken down with education. So it's just like we just have to keep telling
Yeah.
people and when you're new person in your life, your dad you never thought was gonna smoke or whoever starts smoking, they're like, yeah, like my people are always from Florida. Like, yeah, I got my car. I'm going to Trulieve and Cureleaf, and I'm like, let me tell you.
Oh.
Let me tell you, that's trash. Like, and like I don't yeah, I don't even
But
get into
it's the
like the corporate
novelty
of
of
it.
access.
I'm so proud of you right now, Dave.
Exactly.
I'm so
You know?
proud of you right now.
the novelty of access, especially for that generation.
Well, there's a honeymoon phase too, especially after legal. There's like that, like,
sure.
Florida, I finally got my state legal. I didn't have to move, so I'm gonna go get my card and just do whatever it is. And like they're paying crazy prices for distillate.
That's literally what I mean by the novelty
Distillate.
of access, because novelty means something new. Like it's newly accessible at a fucking store. I just give my ID. It's kind of like I'm buying weed or whatever.
Yeah.
Or like what?
Yeah, it's more official to
Buy
walk into
alcohol?
a store than go to a caregiver or somebody in the store.
Some guy in a corner. You gotta
So,
go
oh my gosh,
stand on his porch.
you mean my buddy down the street? You know, usually it's a community member.
Who talks to people anymore,
The
Big? What are you
suburb of
talking
Detroit,
about?
there's a vending machine that's this
Yeah.
guy's driveway. What?
Well, that's it. Yeah.
That's true. That's so.
Don't you have a robot for this?
I think we're forgetting about these things. Now that everybody has
You're
one
right.
of these,
Well, yeah.
That's scary,
we're
though.
all so packed with information that we have not just the
Just being
ability to like see information, but we have the ability to like make a choice and then also spread information
True.
exponentially, right? So like once all this information, glyphosate's getting abolished, makes a good point. The craft awakening is happening. It's not just in cannabis; it's in all markets. So you go to a farm market, you shit's selling out like crazy. People don't want soap at the grocery store because it's filled with chemicals. It's not because they're woo woo or they're bougie or whatever. It's because they're now informed. We were not informed on this stuff up until now. This has been going on for fucking 60 years, 100 years.
I'd probably say 1,000 years if you in the basic sense.
And autism and
like
gone up in the last 60
like
years.
the medieval people started figuring out control.
The control aspect, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, which is the beginnings of this. This is just advanced control.
Yeah. It's chemical wash.
For sure.
This is they've graduated.
Yeah.
Before it was just they used to tell us you better do good or the boogeyman, you know, like, and we believe it because we didn't have even that amount of knowledge. At one point we didn't even have printing presses, so it was like, oh, well, the king, he lives in a big house. And he says there's a boogeyman. I'm gonna believe him, so I'm not doing that.
In my opinion, the boogeyman is the lack of knowledge on terpenes. So what do we just create a podcast or something that reaches the masses? That's
like a podcast we're doing right now.
Should we go get that?
But with a focus on terpenes and just really,
how do you
just nail it home, man? Like,
go knock door to door. Good sir, have you heard about our Lord and Savior terpenes?
That is the guys in black suits way of doing it. We have the internet. You know what I'm saying? Like Twitter, YouTube, whatever. Like, how do we tell everybody about terpenes and make sure that they're buying based on that? Which, in my opinion, is really where the quality lies, right? Because if that's what we want, is for an advancement of quality, which is
but you miss.
Have we even found what all the terpenes are yet?
No, of course not.
No, a big idea of it though. But the bigger question is like, you know, the average person doesn't give a fuck for that long. You know, they're not going to listen to a show. They might listen to one show. So I think
let's make a viral video. Smart, you make a good point. All right, what's a viral video about terpenes? How we can educate it? Is it like some school like
for one, it's probably got to be
the bill on Capitol Hill? Can we do something like that? The terpene on rhymes with
something
terpene.
how like pine or something. We need to like compare caffeine.
We got D-limonene instead of caffeine. We got terpenoline instead of.
Okay, here's a good one.
I like that.
They spritz a lemon into your towel when you're on an airplane to kind of give you a little ether bath. I mean, an awakening with the limonene.
We got myrcene for when you're ready for this.
I think you're getting a little even more advanced even than what we need for the average person, and I think you just need to introduce terpenes as
that's the thing.
There's far more important things than
your responsibility.
Yeah,
as a good grower or a good producer, literally to be like. I've always thought this is why I like growing was I want to be like Johnny Appleseed, but Johnny, cannabis seed. So if you produce good weed, you gotta give it away occasionally when you're at like somebody who doesn't know and be like, no, smoke this, man. And that person tells a million. It's that math thing and tells two people or shares the bud, and that's even better because it's not even like with weed we gotta make a term. It's like word of lung. Word of lung.
Right, because word of mouth is
Word of
the
lung
most
and mind.
effective and cheapest
Yeah.
form of advertising. So if
Yeah.
we're going to translate that to cannabis, it's like word of tongue, word of terps, word of.
I feel like word of
Word-
mouth
yeah.
still works for that.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're kind of right, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that there's still a thing that
Unless it's a topical.
we have to
Don't
acknowledge
need the
before
topical.
we can do any of that, and that's the propaganda machine that like still a very large section of the world has been influenced by, and that is needed the unlearning, right? I don't know if anybody's heard this phrase, the unlearning is a huge phrase, and that's because we've been fed so much propaganda and bullshit that we need to actually unlearn a lot of the things that are embedded into us as what we think of as not just normal but day-to-day normal culture and things like that, right? And it goes on with propaganda in politics. It's propaganda from corporation. It's propaganda from all kinds of sides of everything, right? It's gaslighting.
Can I throw out a better term for that, in my opinion, than unlearning? Because that really seems like degenerative to me. I think a better word is disconnecting.
Yeah. I like that.
I don't know, man, because
I feel like we're all born wired into this machine, and I feel like we don't have to be connected to it. And I feel like unlearning something is not necessarily a good thing. I feel like knowledge is power.
Yeah, but when someone's telling you lies and unfacts,
but hey, being able to discern lies from facts is a good thing. And if it takes disconnecting from the machine to do that, I'd rather be able to know what those lies are and be able to discern them in the future. I don't know. That's where my head is at. Maybe it's not right.
They're
But
saying basically the same.
it's like a pyramid. We kind of have the same goal. We're just coming from just different sides.
Oh, you guys want to talk about pyramid?
Yeah, I do. I would love to, man. When I was like 9 years old, I designed a glass pyramid that I wanted to build in Las Vegas, and fuck me, they built one like 4 years later.
Are you claiming? The glass
They used to design for Billy, those bastards.
You should see a lawyer or something.
I was like
okay,
9 years old,
Do you have
man.
any blueprints? Anything you drew?
Oh, for sure there's drawings. My parents
you've got a case. You've got a case. It's those government birds.
Dude, NSA's been on me since I was on Pogs, dude.
Yeah, hey, everybody forgets about the NSA. It's that quiet one, the subtle one. But in 1980, that the NSA had a computer with 100,000 processors. In
Now look at
1980s.
Utah. Now look at what they got in Utah.
What do you
Pull
think?
that shit up.
40, 50
They
years.
were mining
Yeah,
so
this is
much
what it says.
Bitcoin. They were mining
They
so
were
much
probably
Bitcoin.
inventing
with
the
that.
whole
They were
scheme
just
of crypto.
stealing it. They're just
Yeah,
stealing it.
exactly.
Just, you guys are doing fraud. We're gonna take your Bitcoin now. Yeah, guess what we're gonna do with it?
Yeah. Well, that's Lisa. Yeah, the NSA, National Security Agency, National Spy Agency.
There you go, National Spy on Your Own People Agency.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well,
A little
it's
late session,
FBI can do that. But
Yeah.
CIA
So,
That's what I'm
anybody
saying.
got anything fun going on in the garden? My Indigo Daydreams, like day 50. They're all looking all right. They're all super leafy.
All I know is
yeah, I'm like, they all look like a
So what you're saying is fresh frozen.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
And the clone, I'm ready.
I got number 3 and number 4 both smell good. Number 3 is like that candy blueberry I really want. And then number 4 is kind of a more gassy candy blueberry, I guess.
I'll pass on that one. You're saying it's like a blue raspberry. Now, what do they
Yes,
put in
that's
blue
what- yeah.
raspberry again that you don't like so much?
Some sort of chemical, but this doesn't have that because it's just weed I grew.
It's terpenes, right?
It's terps, exactly.
Who needs?
Oh, wait, what was it? What was it? Some sort of smell. It was like baby poop or something?
No, it was like cow, like liver, or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Baby poop.
Yeah.
I had a plant that was meat terps recently, and that was pretty fucking gross.
Oh, I don't eat terps.
Cooked meat or raw meat?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go cooked. I was cooked meat.
Okay.
Like
yeah.
With
I'm imagining like raw venison. You ever have that smell? Like the
yeah.
You ever harvested a deer before?
That's like a deer hanging in the barn. Like
yeah, it's a weird kind of stink, man.
It is.
Have you ever driven by a taxidermist with a dog in your car? They go crazy.
I just threw in my flower room was empty, but I just threw in 2 plants. So I threw in Bliss Bud and Cobra milk. So I'll
Nice.
get those going.
I got the pineapples coming up potting soon. The pineapple upside
Nice.
down cake. I call it Paduk. Pudtc.
I'm excited for the
And
duck.
dude, there's some nice ones in there, and I'm excited. They're cut. I haven't done too many smells with them because usually when I'm in veg, I'm just trying to get it done at night.
And you got
There's so
clones.
much to do. Yeah, I cloned them all the other day, so
Nice.
so that we can just throw them in flour soon. Triple
I'm
burgers I
excited
plucked
for it.
today.
Nice.
Oh, I finished the flower room pretty much. I just got to wipe down the walls. And what else? Vacuum. Oh, vacuum. Oh, do a seal of caulk around the floor
Oh,
edge. That
I
was it.
might have a lead of and getting. We might be getting a light from GMO. I told him.
Yes.
He said, "Do you have a?" He says, "Do you have a 5x5 tent?" I said, "No, but I've got a build out that's plenty bigger than a 5x5."
I'll swap
Can we
them
get more
out.
than one, please?
Dude, this is
Yeah.
a
Can you put his
this is a
next light onto
1,000.
me?
This is a 1,000-watt tent light.
Oh my lord. Yeah,
Dude,
we'll
it's
bust it
unreal.
out.
It's
I got
super
18,000
aggressive.
BTUs. We're good.
He
He's
just
so excited he got.
Yeah, that's sweet.
we'll all take one off his hands.
Oh, and you know what else I did? I finally used that rubber stuff in the cracks.
Oh, how did that turn out?
Sika Construction polyurethane self-leveling, and then you can get it in gray, brown, a couple different colors. I got gray, and
Did you
what
have
I
to
did
put
was
vacuum down behind it?
I vacuumed that thing out after I had a spatula thing or like a paint scraper, and I was just clearing out all the dirt and debris. Vacuumed it out. Then I put 3/8 inch backer rod, they call it.
Okay.
So I shoved that at the bottom of that, and then I just squirted all that stuff in there, and I squirted it so it came above because it's self-leveling.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then I read the guy that told me about it on Reddit. You
Did
can later come with a razor blade and just slice along the
okay.
line,
Nice.
and you got a nice clean cut.
Oh,
So
nice.
I was
Nice.
able to seal all the cracks in the floor. So now it's just caulk the edge.
Do you know about
and
VOCs
Dude,
on
that's the
that?
stuff that my dad
Yeah.
uses when he does floors. That's how he does the sub-level flooring for it.
Yeah, that's what I wanted was something in case I ever paint or do epoxy. It's not just I have to use
Does
a bunch more where it goes in the cracks.
Does
Yep.
it have a high VOC?
I don't know what the VOC is, but I'm letting it air
It
out
should
for
say it
like
on the
3 or 4
bottle.
days.
Okay, yeah, you're
So,
probably right. What's well, I mean, hopefully.
trying to get some fast fit trays in there, stands before I go in there, but I don't know. We'll see.
What do you not have access? You just not haven't got them
No,
yet, or
The money, it's $900 for 2 of them
I know, dude.
with everything I want, wheels and the
Yep,
net
the
poles.
strong netting, yep, and
Because
the
when I get them,
table.
if I'm
It
not
doesn't
gonna
come
be able
with
to
a
these
table.
things,
I mean,
these triple burgers are so tall. I'm gonna have to.
We're gonna as soon as
Scrug
we
'em
put them in
immediately.
day one when we transfer them, we'll just spend them all down. We'll put one scrug net low. And we'll
Yeah.
spread them out real wide and make sure we fill up the whole fucking space, and then let them go straight up from there.
Yeah. Well, that's the plan. And then later, that's the thing. Later, I'll upgrade to the reducer kit, so I'll even have more headroom.
Nice. Well, we
because I
already
have
got what is it?
those.
10 foot?
We only have
What
10
would you
feet.
get? What would you
Hey.
guess from the 9 foot from the bottom of the light to like if we had that light all the way pegged to the top?
If we had let's say we had the like all the way to the top, so like, but like, I'd say, what is it like? 10 inches from the top,
hey,
Yeah.
Jake,
because you're gonna give yourself a little bit of air room above the ballast. Then yeah, you're looking at like 9 and a bit from the
Can
floor.
can I offer you an
That's fine.
alternative?
Yeah.
I have a sawzall if you'd like to borrow it.
Ooh.
Why? What is this extension kit? What does it involve? Like,
Have you? They're basically shorter legs.
yeah,
Yeah,
can you
so I
just cut
think
the
that would
legs?
work. I didn't even think of that. Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
dude,
I think
no,
that would work.
Sure to cut the tops off so that you can still attach.
I
those
think the
wheels.
top is proprietary though. I gotta go look, but that might
Yeah,
work.
I have them too, and I haven't thought about doing this, but if we can,
But you get
we
like a
don't
foot
have
and
to
a
like
half. You get
re-weld
like a
anything,
foot
but
and a
if you
half.
can- yeah, if you could just cut the legs off, and then if it fits still in the
That's what I'm
wheels,
thinking.
you
Yeah,
know
I'm
what I
thinking
mean?
it
Like,
might still fit.
does it need like a cap or something? I can't remember. But
Yeah,
hey,
that's what
if
I'm
you need it,
thinking.
I'm more than happy to loan it. It's just a Milwaukee.
No,
like,
we could just. I could
plug-in.
take the wheel out of the bottom, chop the bottom up because the top of the leg is just a pole. It goes inside the brackets.
Yeah, that's what I'm
So
thinking. Like, why?
So
Even
yeah,
if
actually, we
you
might be able
threw
to
the
try
cut
that.
up, you could just
Hang on.
tap it in.
I have some extra legs.
Wow, look at those legs. Speaking of legs,
Baked is the Conan O'Brien of legs around
He
here.
needs to get out in that sunshine that we got right now, Mr. Florida man.
What are
He
you
gets out
talking
there.
about?
He gets out there.
Oh, my shins are nice, but it's my. You're looking
okay.
at,
It was the
I got a
lighting.
farmer
You're right.
tan.
You're right. No, it was the lighting on the way out. You're right.
But see, yeah. So all you need is this. These are
but
my
that's that.
ones. And
Yeah, but that's the difference is that you got that step right there. See how it's smaller that inserts in than the actual leg? So you couldn't cut the top
Well-
off. You need the top.
Hold on.
we'll keep the top, but we'll cut the bottom and just move the wheel.
What's okay? Yeah,
The
because on the
wheels
bottom
will
of
Look at the
that,
bottom.
it's just,
It's just a flat.
you take
Yeah,
that out. You take
and
that
the
out,
wheel
and that's where the
fits in
wheel.
there
Yeah, it
just
goes
like
right
that.
there.
So,
Yeah.
so
Okay,
that
okay.
might work for Goy. I might just do
you
that.
can cut 18 inches off
Get
that.
you're probably gonna need a really good sawzall. This is not bad metal.
I got a lot of blades, bro.
Yeah. We might do that then, but
Yeah,
that
man,
would
I'll
save
bring
a
my whole
bunch.
kit over, bro.
And yeah, I love the
Think
reducer
about it
kit.
though. Think about it though, because it's like you maybe.
Well, we can
test
try it
the
on. These are my
table,
extra ones from the. I have two 3x6s in the house because I really needed the headroom.
You could use a
And,
real fine blade metal saw, just hand saw, fine metal.
Oh, yeah,
I
put this
got a
on-
freaking mow. I'll drive it halfway. Like
Yeah.
it'll take you longer to do it.
No,
than it
we'll
Yeah,
will.
but
figure
I've got a metal
and try
saw that I
it.
know works 100% for that because I literally just cut metal legs for a table that I refinished just so that I could put the wheels shorter so that it was.
Dude, I could put them
needed the table
so
enough that I
short.
could hit the grav bong off of it, so I had to cut off like 4 inches.
You
You
throw
could put them
Texas
like.
supply and have it before anybody.
I could put
even
them
helps.
shorter than the reducer kit then.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like
custom-
3
Give
inches,
yourself
3
enough-
inches,
give
and
yourself
then a
enough
It's
wheel.
a
room.
workout. It's a fucking workout.
Yeah, give yourself
Yeah,
enough
that's
room
why I'm
for,
saying use the.
Oh, for a
use
tray,
electric
tray.
I
sawzall.
need
You're
to
right.
pick up a sawzall.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea though. We're gonna definitely do that. Don't buy reducer kits. Just cut your legs of these things.
Did you just cut her off? Man,
Yeah.
who's got the mute button over there?
I don't
My
know.
bad,
Saw that.
my bad.
That side eye was so good.
Yep.
Anyways,
beautiful.
yeah, I didn't think of the sawzall. I've got one of those, and I should have. That would have saved me probably about like 45 minutes.
I mean, it would have saved me probably 100 hours in the last decade of growing had I had it before
It's
a year
extremely
ago.
difficult.
You know,
I think the sawzall is really difficult to control at times when you're doing against metal.
it's true.
I
That's why I
think
like
it
your
depends
hand.
on the
You can clamp
blade.
it
The
down.
blade. You can get
Well,
really good blades.
It's less the blade and more about the stabilization, like Spartan is saying. It's like if you're
Well,
cutting
I'm
a piece of metal
assuming
like
you're putting
that,
this in a vise,
exactly
like a
You gotta put it in a
properly
vise,
bolted
a
down
vise.
vise. But yeah, I was just saying as far
I
as
found
the
out
blade.
recently, what are those channels that you like can mount to the table that have like the 45 90 degree different angles?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I know
Yeah,
what you're
man.
talking about. I
I
don't know what
just
they're
bought
called at
one
all.
recently to cut cut some pipe I needed. It was actually the aluminum framing for my screen door that I cut my leg open with. I needed
Oh,
a way
wow.
I needed a way to stabilize that, and doing that with a sawzall wasn't going to work. Doing it with a handsaw works a lot better because it's so thin, but holding it there wasn't going to work. So I needed to like vice grip it against something, and man, it took me a long time to figure out what this thing was called. Someone knows what it's called. Miter saw, yeah, miter jig, I think it's what it's called.
Oh,
miter
miter
saw
jig.
is the actual blade or the saw that works, but yeah, miter jig.
Miter saw is the saw
Miter
up top
box.
and pull. You
A
pull
miter
it out.
box. Are you
Miter
talking
box,
about
this
miter
thing?
box. Yep, miter box.
Miter
Look up
box,
a miter
there you go.
box. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Oh my
box.
gosh, this thing is so
I'm glad you're
valuable,
talking
guys.
about
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
manual saw because I'm listening to all this, and I like modern machinery. Don't get me wrong, but I also love Earth's gym. I use it all the time. I got to carry some bricks around. It's the gym, man. I don't have to go to the gym. I bend down and do my squats and get down, and pull the dirt to do the thing, and there's no loud noises ripping through my ears and muffs and stuffs and when I get out there and I pull the weeds by hand, I watch my neighbor rip through his stop and pull weeds and swear this fucking thing 4 or 5 times, and I'm just on my hands and knees. I'm grounded real quick. I'm just doing the motion fluidly, and then boom, I'm done. And then I'm done. I scrape up my knuckles a little bit, so I put some gloves on. But then I get this nice workout while I'm doing it, and then I don't go to the gym, so I call it Earth's Gym.
Earthshim. I like that. I got a compliment today about my physique. Asked if I went to the gym. I go, not like 7 years, man. But you see this farm out here? Like that's my gym, dude. Like you don't need a gym membership if you're working on a farm. You just don't.
Okay, my favorite thing is like if you're feeling bad about the way that you look, if you go outside and you just chop wood for one day, the next day you look in the mirror and you're like, oh, look at, I got a little bit of definition. You know, it's just one day and that much.
You want to know why anything grows? Chopping wood is the biggest increase that you can naturally give yourself of testosterone. That's
well, it's really fucking fun.
It's one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah, no, that's like some real man shit right there.
I love chopping wood.
Or just some real strong shit, whatever you want to call it. I don't mean to put a gender on or anything.
I'll lumberjack all day. I don't give a shit.
There you go. There you go.
Maple.
We got a beard we can strap on you. I got a
No, I just decorate his.
There you go. I like
old cured maple is not fun. I won't chop that. That's
a maple. Yeah, the hardwoods.
Old cured maple.
Cured maple.
I need to really fine hone my blade because I cannot get through the old maple.
I like mauls. Just get like a 20-pound maul and just swing.
I need a good axe, dude. I got
I got the people for you.
Axes get stuck. Axes get stuck. Oh yeah, there you go.
They're out of Detroit. Yeah, I've been looking at. Check it out. You can get a maul like that.
Oh.
And do whatever you want with that. Yard work, zombie apocalypse. It's very versatile.
I don't even know.
A raccoon comes into my yard.
I'll show you the website tomorrow. There's so much cool stuff on it. We held a Morningstar. Oh my god! I think that would be. The only thing, Spartan, I want a shorter one, like a shorter handle.
But that long handle
shield.
Oh, okay.
Get out of here, smash! Get out of here! Get out of here, smash!
Yeah, that was a two-handed. You wanted a one-hander.
Yeah. See, I don't want a two-hander. I'm a two-hander.
So you're gonna get a leather strap on yours, so you can like just have it.
They let you pick the colors and stuff when you order them online. I found out. I was looking up the strap and leather and everything.
Yeah, you could just shorten the handle and put like a metal spike or something on the bottom.
I could get like a cool moonstone or dragon crystal.
There you go.
Put it down there. Yep.
A lot of like silver, stainless steel.
Or you could do metal work as the handle.
Yeah.
That would be sick.
Yeah, let's do that.
Anything grows that tried some armor on there. They made it, and it was out of aluminum, so it's pretty light. It was chainmail. It was chainmail.
It was the coolest. It was like a whole chest piece, and it came across the shoulders, and I just felt so powerful. I tried on crowns at one point also, and that was pretty cool. Queen mode initiated.
Did you ever fight in that chainmail? Did you ever like try to get stabbed or anything? See what happens?
Fuck, we were right next to them too.
I mean, we can still make it happen.
Right next to all the weapons.
They said it was lightweight aluminum. That's just gonna get destroyed from.
No, I put on the heavy one. Remember? I wanted to put on that heavier one.
I asked these people if these could hurt humans, and they said yes. So I would not try aluminum against cold forged steel.
So what you're saying is we need some AR-500.
Yes, then we'll try it. So you give me some AR-500 chainmail, that would be gnarly. That would be gnarly. But I don't think I've ever seen that.
I wonder how well that works. Yeah,
I just watched John Wick, and they got it's obviously fictional, but the newest one, they're all wearing these suits. They're tailored suits, and they're all bulletproof. So they'll just like use their suit. They're like, bullet, no. And it's like, how the hell?
No.
Like, well, they do have the ones that are knife proof now in England. They got knife proof.
Resistant. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I guess I should say resistant.
Dude, AR. Okay. Tonight, tomorrow on the lights.
Yeah. What would you stand in front of? With what?
Not much. Not much.
Do they have one of those for armor? Like they have like forged in fire? Do they have one that's for armor? Like
to make a whole
defense, for like defense.
Yeah, there are people that actually fight each other in armor, like still to this day.
No, I'm just talking. I want to go binge Netflix and watch an armor.
Oh, an armor one with
I
don't know
because I learned so much about the different weapons from watching that show.
They have a blacksmithing show on Netflix. It's like a competition show, like those food ones, but it's like who can make the best this or that.
Yeah, it's blacksmithing.
Yeah.
It's called Forged in Fire.
Oh,
And
yeah.
there's like
Fun,
3
yeah.
different levels
Oh,
in each
I see what you're saying.
episode.
Now
And
we
like
know.
the
Yeah.
first one,
It's so cool.
they get just a short amount of time. The second one, they get like a full day. And then the third one, they get like 5 days and they get to go home and work in their own forge. And then the dude, his name is Doug Marcata, I think. But he's so fucking cool because every time when he uses it, and like at the very end one, he goes, "This will kill." And it's so good. It's so good.
If it passes
Yeah.
the test, so they might have to cut. They might have to like in
But
one
they're
slice.
so cool
cut
about
through
it. Like if one of them, if they're looking at the weapon and they're like noticing like the handle doesn't quite line up and it's a little loose, he'll straight up say, "Look, I'm sorry, we're not going to be able to compete. We'll judge it off of what it is, but I'm not risking anybody's safety."
Oh wow.
So, like they
That would be
actually like are paying
embarrassing.
attention.
Yeah. But yeah,
Hey, cheers, Limeskunk, guys.
I know you can go on YouTube and see Russians fight with real armor and weapons.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
Yeah, that's gnarly.
It
But
is not. I
yeah,
can't believe people do that, like on purpose.
yeah. I would probably do it maybe later in life. Just shits
Is
and
that also the
giggles.
same guys that are like walking on like?
Why do you have to wait till later? So you're more feeble?
Oh, because in case you die, at least you already you went and did your life
I think
and
you're
then
more
you tried
likely
it.
to though.
But no.
Here comes Big Pone, 97 years old in his suit of armor.
Fuck you fuck with me. I got a little tiny mace and I'm gonna break your ribs. That's the first thing. But yeah.
Hey guys,
That's a-
before we go, can we all hear from Tara? I want to hear about her brand new grandbaby.
Oh,
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
you're awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I'm so excited. Yes, I got to be a biological grandma this weekend. I have a step grandson who I consider him my own, Aiden, but my son and his wife had their own little boy Thursday, Jesse, and he's awesome. So I got to-
Congratulations.
thank you.
Yes, congrats.
So-
Congrats.
Experience, you know.
First
Love-
one's a boy too, huh?
I'm sorry.
It's that first one's a boy.
Yeah,
All right, there we go.
Small
first-
hands, good
He's
for
not-
training.
and that he would have a boy also.
They can
You
fit
know,
under the canopy very easy.
Well, Jesse Gemstone.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's
Infants?
the best. We've been
You're
watching
employing infants?
Stones and like literally.
Oh,
Jesse be nimble, Jesse be quick.
So the baby's name was going to literally be Luke or Lucas for the longest time, and I told Joseph to watch The Righteous Gemstones on HBO, and then like 4 weeks ago, maybe even 3, he's like, "We're gonna name the baby Jesse." Jesse James. And I was like, "Oh dear God." So we have a little baby Jesse now, and hopefully he's not
I
like.
hope you didn't get anything pre-embroidered.
No, I did not. Well, just because they didn't know, and like it went back between Luke or Lucas and then Jacob, and so I was like, "Oh, I'm not going to do anything until I know for sure." So we finally it got narrowed down to Jesse, and he's really freaking awesome, and got to go
Little
home for
JJ.
that. Yeah, got home for that, and my oldest nephew graduated from high school, so there was lots of big milestones for me.
Oh,
this
wow.
Gosh, busy.
weekend.
Emotional weekend.
My nephew Max, he's been a part of my life for, since he was born. I shouldn't brag about this, but I had him in a tattoo parlor at 3 years old getting tattoos with me. So he
Where did he get his at?
been places.
Is it shoulder or leg or?
No, it was my arm and my.
No.
Oh, he got his on his arm. He had fake
Wait,
tattoos.
what?
No, he got fake tattoos.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Had to include him.
Oh, no,
The Broly's like, no, don't answer that.
We got on the show.
My brother would kill me. Dear God, no.
No, that's cool that he got fake tattoos. I wasn't even expecting
So
that.
Tara's the fun aunt.
Fuck yeah, she
Yeah.
is. Now she's gonna be the fun grandma. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
To be the fun grandma too, but
How does that feel? Does that feel weird?
I guess the point is you love your kids so much, and you can't ever. To me, I could never expect to love something else so much.
Like, did you already have that grandma feeling, or is it like you held that baby
Of
and it
course
just kind of felt like
is,
grandma?
She is literally the mother of this community.
I
Let's
mean,
be
She like, did you already have that grandma vibe? Because you have that mom vibe. So like, was it?
Definitely. I mean, I'm pretty, always mothering, and I mean, like even with my brother's kids, I've always had his kids with me. I've always got somebody's kids with me, and so it's very natural for me to feel this way. And I mean,
Is it weird though to be a grandma? Because you look freaking young.
Oh, I appreciate it. I'm gonna be 48, so
Yeah, is it weird to be a freaking grandma?
young, I'm not older.
All the fun without the responsibility,
But it's a crazy feeling to see my son, hold this baby in his arms and watch him try to soothe him. So, and to coo at him, and it's pretty amazing.
That's one of the biggest things that my mom says that she loves watching, and she gets like, she's like cherishes the moments that she gets to capture. It's like her baby taking care of her babies.
Yeah.
And that's her favorite thing.
I like this line.
To get him to watch, to see the baby stop crying because Joseph was talking to him so sweetly, and to see that side of Joseph, because Joseph's very like rough and hard and like screw you and kind of thing. And to see him, I asked him, I was like, this is funny. I was like, how fast did you drive on the way home? His wife looked at me and she's like, he braked at everything. He never broke 65 the whole way home. My son has awesome. Like his mama. So it was nice to see this side of him. So it's super cool,
That's so awesome. I'm happy for you, Tara.
Thanks, you guys. I appreciate all the great things everybody said, the good vibes and the well wishes and the support and the love everybody's given me. It's been tremendous.
Growing families are a fantastic thing.
Oh, it really is, and you know what? Everybody, I hope gets to experience this one time in their life, some way, somehow. Kids are priceless, pretty much.
Depends on the market.
Jesus.
I'm always
that'll be the show. Thanks. See us tomorrow on the late sesh.
When they're crying.
Thanks, chat.
Get off the way.
Talk to you about Cobra Milk Outdoor Spartan tomorrow night on the late sesh.
All right, I like the sound.